Are we Gucci or not? Or not? Or not? Or not? Okay. Okay. Okay, let's get a link, open the chat, and get her going. Get this a app on the way. Things aren't loading. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay. Where is the Discord? Yellow line. And guys, do I even have to say it? Do I even have to say it? Filter imaginary yellow line at 6'4", 5'6", 8', 6'7", baby. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, in terms of where we left off, where did we leave off? This would have been 8. I think we were like heading down, but we hadn't swept below yet, right? I believe. Yeah. I mean, kind of where we're at now. We're at the zone right now. Time to see what happens. Is this thing gonna hold or not? Looking a bit sus though, right? In terms of this like big volume node. Kind of just doing a bearish retest. Couldn't even grab the single print, and now we're like starting to head lower potentially. We're looking a little sus. We'll say that. Let's update our levels first, and we'll get going. Also, I don't know how long I'm gonna be streaming today for, because I gotta do some shits. Like I'm like hosting some people tomorrow. And the thing is, this house is like a mess. Like no one's living here when I'm not here, right? It's like a 5-bedroom house. No one's here. Just collecting dust. And so I haven't been here for like months and months and months. So it's pretty dirty. There's like dust and like cobwebs everywhere. So I have people coming to clean it. But they're coming like early in the morning. And I gotta like move some shit out of the way. Because like, when I came back, I just like fucking tossed everything in the living room. I gotta like move a bunch of boxes and baskets, etc. I'm not trying to do it like super late at night, like midnight or like 1 in the morning. And I'm not trying to wake up at a good time. 1, for these people, but 2, just to maintain my sleep schedule. So don't think I'm gonna be too late. So I'm just kind of get that over with tonight before it gets super late. So let's update our levels first, and we'll get her going. Kind of worry about the rest of this shit later. Worry about the rest of this shit later. EQ 6.5. 6.5 861. And the low is where? Six 4.945. Also, you know, see, do you guys see what I mean? Do you guys see what I fucking mean? This is like a perfect example. Like yesterday we were here talking about how like we missed this gold like potential long setup, right? And we were like considering chasing it, and then I was like, no, like, I feel guilty chasing it. Look exactly what happened, right? Like I swear, like this trading stuff, I find it so hilarious. It's like you always get got trying to do that shit. I swear. In terms of the other trades, oil is still going. Shout out to oil. Bum 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 bum. Think about this though, like I have like a TP set up here a little higher. I'm paranoid I'm not gonna make it there. So I'm like kind of being mindful to see like how this stuff starts to correct. If we start to like lose this like kind of zone right here, I'm probably gonna like close some manually. Yeah, this thing's still going. Palantir does not have the greatest of days again. We'll see though. We'll see. And I just swept this low, got back above it, so MU, no real big change there. What else was I gonna say? I was looking to get filled on this. I had a limit right fucking here, literally right here, and we just came short of it. Now I'm like a little paranoid. Like I for now I canceled it because like the fact that we like bounced and like didn't just start going right away is like kind of sus, right? Like, we're just spending time down here. Makes me think we're gonna like blow through this level. So like, I'm probably gonna be like looking at this gap fill, to be honest. Something like that. Boom, boom, boom. Little sauce, little sauce. And on Tesla, I had like orders in this zone. But I got filled a little bit on this. Boom, boom, boom. But I got more below, and I might just put it break even. To be honest, because it's the same story. Same as Google, right? And the other thing is like I wanted to shave at the VWAP. We never got there. So it's making me a little paranoid, to be honest. Boom, 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 boom. And it never got into this, which feels bad, right? We were talking about this yesterday. We'll keep watching this though. We'll keep our alarm down here. Other than that, no real changes, right? Nothing really. Haven't touched like, the Bitcoin stuff at all. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Not too much to catch up on today, honestly. God damn, god damn. Okay, we're done with that. Is everything else looking right now? I mean, so far in terms of the stuff we talked about with the options back here, so far it's coming along, right? Especially if we start to like recover from here. Kind of talked about how like this is like how it was looking in terms of like the higher time frame. So far, kind of coming along according to plan. Show to the options data. Dun, 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 dun. I need something to eat though. Boy, I'm hungry. Hungry as fuck. Hungry as a motherfucker. What else do we need to do? Probably get caught up on some of this data. Yeah, let's see what's going on down here. Let me raise this a little bit while we nerd out. Because a lot of shorts got trapped out here potentially. Like if we can start to like run off on these people, like they're gonna get squeezed back up, right?
Esta jugada es demasiado perfecta. Aquí solo entra el que sabe. Yeah. Baby, I slide in la vela. Entry clean on fire en la escena. Moving like mad. You chasing cloud, I'm stacking la crema. Yeah. Got that Fibonacci lined up right. 618.
I mean, we'll see what happens at this single print, this nigga point of control first and foremost. Also look at some of this open interest a bit more specifically. Because from when I was watching it earlier, a lot of the shorts are like in these candles, so like technically like not like all like underwater yet. But if we start to like get above this like the POC and flip it, then like yeah, right, might be on. So let's delete some of this stuff.
Charted that run since Candle One. Ella dice como tú sabías. Hace mirar de tabela y poesía. Open interest es mi guía. This not luck, it's geometría. She grinding slow while I mark my zone. Break up structure, now we in the zone. Trade talk, sexy Simone. Hit the level like you own. La entrada perfecta. Timing que calienta. Precisión que revienta, trade setup que alimenta, la entrada perfecta, hey, stop tight como promesa, TP on la mesa, tu clean pa la.
Did that get filled? Is that a real order or no? No. Oh. Interesting. Okay, a lot of these orders actually got filled. Interesting. But the biggest one, like, they've been moving it. So I don't know if this person's like, they're spoofing up a storm down here or what. Okay. Fuck, fuck.
Marcos trades.
Marcos Trace. Yeah, you feel that?
Floating over the Mediterranean right now.
The map is the map.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting distracted right now. Goddamn. Need to put our phone away.
Penthouse balcony, the closet at my feet. Sipping something vintage, yeah, the victory is sweet. Stars out in the paper, smoke dancing in the air. Watching candles move, but I'm already there. Exotic views, turquoise water in the distance. Living out a dream with zero resistance. I saw the level coming from a mile away. Now I'm just flowing through a golden hour.
Let's flip this thing around.
The levels looking like a ghost. Raising up a glass. Yeah, we gotta make a toast. We just floating
We'll get rid of this. I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see if we can, you know, do we end up flipping this Valeria high back or no? Or no? Like, really, this is gonna be like the main zone to be watching, right?
Custom linen flowing while the breeze is too short. I remember wanting this.
Yeah.
Wanting more. Not for the breeze, for the peace.
Let's get rid of that thing.
Hiding from a hammock, that was always the goal. Blueberry notes in the smoke, yes, potent. Surgical with entries, keeping everyone focused. The laptop is open, but my mind is on the waves. Escape the 9 to 5, we no longer the slaves. High tier analyst, but I'm feeling like a king, just a ghost in the machine, enjoying every.
Interesting, right?
Everything is weightless. The logic is timeless. The views are priceless. Value area high. Value area low. Just let the money flow.
Okay, let's find something to nerd out on. I'm not even be looking at this stuff too much anymore. You're caught up, good to go, ready to juice?
We just floating through the value. Yeah, we high. Watching all the numbers paint a picture in the sky. Lavish life. Exotic
Probably set some alarms, yeah?
a masterpiece of logic in a
We already got a bunch up there, got a bunch down here.
keep the
Okay, okay.
It's light, yeah, the atmosphere is shifted. Always prepared. High level vibes. Digital soul. Marcos Trace.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I got into, I forgot to mention, I got into like Eli Lilly trade as well. Once you got above this stuff on the lower time frame on the open, I got into this thing as well.
Marcos Trace. Believe. The math is the math.
Where is this gamma at? Interesting.
Institutional flow, yeah, the volume is deep. I'm hitting every target while the city's asleep.
9:30. Oh. Oh. We've actually seen all these basically, right? Yeah. Yeah. What about the actual interviews? You'll watch this shit, boy. Boy. Here's a couple things you can watch here.
People who want to become
the playbook for
Damn, I not mean to do that.
you spoke people who want to become popular.
Exalted location, the water is teal. She's looking at me, I'm looking at the youth. 50 floors up, yeah, the balcony is wide. She's sipping on something, I'm catching the tide. You can't flow with the island, so surgical entries, I'm in full control. Custom silk on, yeah, it's feeling like a dream. High tier analyst leading the team. High in the hills with a bad thing, yeah, yeah. Trading the value is a bad thing, yeah. Afrobeat bounce and the rhythm is right. We don't see the sun, we just
I think we're good.
the math is a luxury vibe. Inside the pocket, providing for the tribe.
Too easy.
Okay, we'll switch this. That should be good.
Drifting through the ocean air, hands on the
We listened. We now have a CMR help desk where we can meet directly with someone from our team. Click the link in the video description to schedule your free call today. Hello, it's Thursday, the 23rd of July, 2026. And I guess I have to
Why
say
does this
again,
sound
it's
so weird?
not a very good day overall, you know? And I think that there was like a little bit of a tell in that Korea last night, to follow along the same storyline I've been talking about, was actually pretty darn strong, you know, after that week closed the day before. This was a chart the day before, it closed very weak, which was concerning to me. Last night gapped up and held it, and it was a very nice close, quite frankly. And yet, all night, the Nasdaq couldn't catch a bit. This was a night trading in the Nasdaq, right? By the time Korea closed, you know, it was somewhere around like here, around here. So there was just no bit, even though Korea was strong. We see this a lot in a lot of different assets, a lot of times, you know, where I've talked about it, I'm sure, where it's like, gee, this would indicate that this should be up, but this is not up. Does that mean it's a gift, or does that mean the market's saying something and you should be wary? And I will vote 10 times, well, 9.9 times out of 10 that the market is saying something and you should be wary. And I actually talked about one yesterday that falls into the 0.1%, which I'll get into again today. But whatever. So that was maybe a little bit of a tell. It should be not a huge surprise that the stock market is showing weakness here, because it's been showing weakness, on good news consistently. Right? We're just having good earnings after good earnings after good earnings. We don't have any bad earnings. Maybe IBM, but who cares about IBM? All the market leaders, all the stocks that matter. Taiwan Semi, Samsung, Hynix, ASML, and even last night Google. The earnings just continue to come out well, and the forecasts continue to come out very, very well, and the stocks continue to not trade well on the back of that. So I'll say it again: the tone is not good here. Doesn't mean it can't resume. Doesn't mean the bull market can't resume. I still don't think that these charts look terrible here. They're really just going nowhere. But until we get a better tone, I don't see any reason to be getting crazy on the long side at all. The tone is bad now. It keeps going down on good news. The tone is bad. Do I think the market's going to crash? No. Do I think it's a bubble? No. But it doesn't matter what I think. The tone is bad right now. Therefore, this is not the place to be playing the long side aggressively. It's that simple. This crude thing is certainly dangerous. And I'll go back to what I said yesterday. This is where Barron's came out and said they're wrong right on this day. I'm sorry, the Economist admitted that they have been wrong about crude, which to me shows exactly what the major sentiment has been, which is that I bought crude when the U.S. first attacked Iran and I got burned. I am not going to do it this time. So the fact that they're not doing it this time just shows why it's not working. You can look right here. Look at how long speculators were long crude when it first moved up. And look where they were not long crude now. So there's a difference between two markets. Well, it's the same market, same situation, basically, same geopolitical situation, but positioning much different. That's the difference. When positioning is already there, the upside is limited. When positioning is not there, the upside can be more. So this, I think, is the danger. The fact that nobody wants to get long at this time means that it's probably a lot more able to continue its up move. And with that comes danger. And the danger is showing up. Okay, here's the danger. Bonds. Okay, new lows. 10 years, new lows, 5 years, new lows, 2 years, new lows. There's the danger, okay? And I don't hear anybody freaking out about bonds. They were freaking out when they first were down here, and no one's freaking out anymore. Why? Well, because the crude thing is not going to be permanent anymore. I mean, back here, all we heard was if they don't end the war within like a week, every week we heard this, then it's going to be a long-term thing. And that turned out to be completely wrong. They did not end the war in a week. They went on for a few months, and it did not turn out to be a long-term thing. Now we hear, oh, it's not going to be a long-term thing, and crude's going up. And so people are not worried about the bonds this time. And that's bad. I think it's dangerous. And therefore, they're probably not worried about the stocks so much either. Because we know that we're only in the second or third inning of AI, and AI is going to balance out everything, and the crude oil thing's going to be there. So I just think it's dangerous. And whether I think it's dangerous or not is irrelevant. The tape is telling us in every one of these things. The tape is clearly telling us in crude. It's telling us in bonds, and it's starting to tell us in stocks now as well, as it fails on good news time after time. So until that changes, that's what you got to believe. That's the theory that's working, and that's what you got to believe, right? Fortunately, not for me, but overall, fortunately, the dollar is at least holding, because if we were having the dollar go down in this as well, then I think we would be in quite a bit of trouble. But the dollar is doing fine. I'm short things, so I don't love that. If we start to see that, stocks down, bonds down, dollar down, I've talked about that a million times. That to me is the death triangle, but we haven't seen that yet. I will say that while gold and silver and Bitcoin have been doing well recently, today was not a good day for those. Fortunately, I did not chase this gold stuff because of this positioning being too long, so it kept me out, which is good. Did not chase the silver because of the positioning showing too long, which to this point has been good. I'm glad. Most of these things that I have that I use to trade are set up to help me to stop from making mistakes, from chasing things, just because I have FOMO. Oh, I don't want to catch the low. I don't want to miss the low in gold or silver or whatever. And it's kept me from doing that here, and now here as well. And same thing in gold. It's kept me from doing that, here. And it's kept me again from doing that. So COT in this case kept me from.
How's copper today? Copper's an interesting one, right? A lot more. Well, I mean, I guess they're all in quite interesting positions, but this one's like looking relatively strong.
And that's been good in platinum as well. So that's really it. I think this is the problem. I've been calling it the double bluff problem. You could also call it, recency bias problem. They don't want to put on the trades, the war trade that they tried to put on when the war first broke out and burned them. Long crude, short stocks, short bonds. And because they don't want to put it on this time, they don't get crowded, and therefore they're actually working this time. And those are not great situations. Okay, crude going up, bonds going down, stocks going down is not what we want to see in many, many ways, right? But it's not about what we want to see. It's just how the market works. It creates a lot of pain. So that's what I am seeing, folks. If you're watching this every day, it's the same consistent story that we're monitoring day after day. So it kind of flows. So check it out. Hope everyone's doing all right, and we'll talk again soon. Not tomorrow because it's Friday and we get COT, but we'll talk again Monday. Hope everyone have a nice weekend. Just a quick note: if you like these daily videos, and you keep saying that this is a bubble, because there are a lot of people who have missed this arguably greatest opportunity to make money in our lifetimes on new technology. And it's unfortunate because it's been completely wrong. This is the least long we've seen people crude in since way before the war, which means that it probably has legs.
Pleased to welcome back to the show Jason Shapiro, founder of the Crowded Market Report, and he's been featured in Jack Schwager's book, Unknown Market Wizards. Jason's been a veteran trader for many decades, and he shares with us his insights on what's crowded, what's overcrowded, and what's not, and what to look forward to ahead. For investors and traders alike, welcome back to the show. I appreciate you coming back, Jason. Thank you for coming back.
Always a pleasure to see you, David.
Let's just start with what's overcrowded and what's not. So we'll start with stocks, then we'll move on to commodities and bonds. Starting with semiconductors, a huge sell-off, as you know, from a couple of weeks ago, really, from the end of June to now. Most of the major semis have sold off in some way, especially overseas in South Korea, where SK Hynix dropped considerably. The stock dropped about 30 to 40%, wiping out almost, I believe I read 1.2 million accounts in the country got margin called just in the last couple of weeks. Incredible story. Anyway, from a technical perspective here, are you looking at the semiconductor stocks as being overcrowded still, even despite the drop-off, or is this a good buying opportunity? I have on my screen the SMH, VanEck Semiconductor ETF.
My first thought is, look at that chart that you have up there.
Yeah.
And the comment is major sell-off. Okay.
You know what? That's a good point. It's down about 17% from its top.
Okay.
Which has
17,000% from its bottom. So, like this, I think epitomizes the situation, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Where people just continue to want to call this a bubble and continue to want to do this. And Did the Korean situation get overcrowded? It 100% did. We saw a lot of data that started coming out about 2 to 3 months ago, where we're seeing the amount of margin that was being used in Korea on Korean stocks by retail investors. Certainly was giving numbers that seemed unsustainable at the time. And then we started to see the tape show signs that it was weakening. It started to drop on good news. The market went down on Samsung earnings news, which were very positive, and we started to see signs that it was overcrowded. And certainly it was. And you have to argue that it's a lot less overcrowded now. Because of all those margin calls. I look forward to seeing the new data as it comes out for that. It doesn't mean that even if a lot of that has been wiped up, it has to go straight back up. You know, markets, believe it or not, do not have to go straight up or straight down all the time. You know, the S&P hasn't gone anywhere now since mid-May, right? Markets do, in fact, trade in trading ranges. And if you get too excited during those times, they're very, very dangerous times to try and trade, because you are most likely going to get very bearish on the lows and get very bullish on the highs and get whipped around. So I don't know that you necessarily have to say, okay, all the speculation has been taken out of Korea, so now let's buy it. I do think that the calls for bubble are, in my view, I mean, I think we've been having this conversation now for 4 years, where I've been saying this. I do think that they continue to be somewhat ridiculous. You know, people who want to become popular, it's very easy. You go on YouTube, you go on Twitter, and you keep saying that this is a bubble, because there are a lot of people who have missed this arguably greatest opportunity to make money in our lifetimes on new technology. So if they've missed it, they don't want to feel stupid. They don't want to feel alone. So you say, I'm here for you, honey. It's a bubble. I agree with you. We can all form a little group and talk about what a bubble is. And we weren't stupid. It's just that we won't get involved in a bubble. It's the easiest thing in the world. And it's unfortunate because it's been completely wrong. And for those, I'm not saying market can go down, but what I'm saying is that for people who actually spend time, rather than just talking bullcrap and looking at stupid points on charts and just stick to their same bearishness and their recency bias, that they actually look into and do a little bit of research into what's going on, okay? Then they wouldn't be making the bubble argument. And listen, right now, the market does not trade well. I'm not like mega bullish right here. The market does not trade well. It has not been reacting well to good news. It hasn't reacted well to the Samsung news. It hasn't reacted well to earnings news here. It didn't react well to the Taiwan semi news. It didn't react well to the ASML earnings news, okay? It's not acting well right now, right? Which is an indication that it's kind of overdone right now, overcooked, and it needs to just hang out for a while or go down for a while. So I'm not saying you load up right here as a trader, but I just think this bubble idea, it's so overplayed. And I've been talking about this with you for 4 years, right? Yeah. This is the point I've been making for 4 years. And for 4 years, every time I say it, people put comments and say Shapiro's an idiot and this is a bubble, and if you can't see that, then
I mean, seems very unlikely, right? Like, I've been watching a lot of people from like different sectors, whether it's like natural gas or like the people that build the turbines, or whether it's like Jensen, etc. And like they're all saying the same shit, right? Like, massive like structural deficit. The thing is, like, even at the current build-out rate, like, there's still, like, even when that build-out is done, it's still in a huge deficit. So we'd have to see some, like, pretty crazy, like, algorithmic advancements, like, mitigate any of that shit.
and you're blind. Okay, I guess I'm blind. But if you keep fighting this, it's silly. It's just plain silly. And the people who are talking about this, quite frankly, are these people who have never made money trading in their lives. Okay, it's very cool to be bearish, right? Look at Michael Burry. Right? The guy's a hero because he was bearish once. He made a ton of money doing it, and they made a really cool movie about it. And now he has a Substack that makes him $10 million a month because of that. That's all these perma bear dreams. Okay? That's what they want. But if you look at the people who have been perma bearish, all you gotta do is look on your feed. Almost every one of them, to a man, has been horrible, has blown out. Okay, Noble, well, the guy started an ETF that blew out inside of a year, right? And no disrespect to Noble, he had a long, very good career. Okay, but these people have been wrong, is my point. All right. The other ones, I'm not going to get into the names, so it's not very nice, but you can see them. They've been calling the same crash now for 4 years at least, and they've just been incredibly inaccurate about it. And they're missing. I think that they're missing, as I've been saying, the forest for the trees. So just believing in that is silly. Does it mean that the market can't go down? Look, it just went down. The semis just went down. Okay, by a lot. Semis just went down 30-35%. It's a pretty good drop. Except they were up 700% first. Okay, so it's just like you said. Look at this chart. Oh, it's down a lot. Yeah, it's down a lot because it's up a lot. That's why. It's by a whole lot more than it's down. So that's my first thing. All right. Now, having said that, as I said, I do think the markets are not trading very well right here, right this minute. I don't think it's a time to be super long and super bullish because the tape is not trading well.
Before we continue with the video, I'd like to tell you about a company in the healthcare segment that some investors are starting to watch a little more closely. Our sponsor today, Connexo Sciences.
It's like somewhat debatable though, right? Like we might be on the precipice of beginning like legs up on some of this stuff pretty soon here. I mean, we'll see, obviously. We'll see, obviously, but with FOMC next week and all like massive earnings coming, I'm not expecting too much before then. We never know. Never know. Maybe like rally into it and then there's like a huge sell-off after, or vice versa.
HQ on NASDAQ, is developing a regenerative tissue platform aimed at the demand emerging alongside GLP-based and weight loss. And the company is targeting and making any investment decisions. Now back to the video. You've got here on the screen Intel, for example. I'm just using Intel as an example. Last time we had this magnitude of upward movement followed by an immediate retracement was in 2000, the dot-com bubble. When you look at this and you say to yourself, well, I'm not super bullish right now. Are you looking at a chart like this and saying to yourself, well, there's probably more downside to go, even from current levels, due to how it's performed historically? Or do you look at this and say, well, most of the froth has now been, dealt with by this correction here, and it's probably safe to at least wait for what it's about to do and consider getting in?
I don't necessarily look at it anyway, either one of those ways. I look at it with how is the stock trading relative to what it should be doing. It should be weak here because these type of stocks are weak here, and so it's doing that. When it can trade strong in the face of those stocks being weak, then I will be looking to buy. When it can trade strong in the face of maybe what should be the stock trading weak, then I will be looking to buy. When the tape tells me, I don't tell the market what it should do because I have no idea what it's going to do. All right, I don't have the luxury to do that because I'm not a analyst. I am a trader. I have real money at stake, so I cannot bully the market and tell it what it should do. I have to let the market tell me what it is doing and trade it off of that, right? And get into risk reward situations and know where my stop should be and all that. So what I would do is I would wait until Intel is telling me that Intel is a buy. I'm not going to base it off of 2000. This is not 2000. This is 2026. All right, and anyone who thinks it is 2000, I personally think, is being very foolish. Right? This is all this recency bias that people are falling victim to and have been falling victim to and have been getting killed because of it and have been missing out.
Just use this as a thought exercise, Jason. What would convince you hypothetically that this would be a repeat of the first dot-com bubble? You're looking at the news and the charts and the stats and the movements and the sentiment, and then you come to the conclusion, yeah, this is definitely the start of another, dot-com bust or whatever, AI bust, whatever you want to call it. What would that be?
I would need to see there be much more froth in the participation. Okay, I traded through the dot-com bubble. All right, and we are not seeing the froth in participation that we saw then, in my opinion. And let's keep in mind, just like anybody else, my opinion can be wrong. Okay, I'm the first one to admit that, and I don't mind when my opinion is wrong as long as I don't lose money. I don't care. I'm not long these stocks right here. I'm not long the Nasdaq right here. If the Nasdaq crashes 70% tomorrow, I'm not going to lose dime one. Okay, and that's what's important to me. But if you're asking my opinion, I do not think that this is 2000 because the froth in 2000 from a participation standpoint was much more than this. All right, I hear more people talking bubble here than I hear people talking bull market here. In 2000, that was not the case. I can tell you because I have many things that I wrote back then where I was saying bubble. And by the way, I was saying bubble mid-1999, just to be honest here, and I got run over, okay? The Nasdaq went up another 60% from mid-99 until 2000, okay? So I'm not saying I was a genius, I said bubble. No, I'm saying I was an idiot, I said bubble. I got it right and I lost money, right? It was the opposite of what I try to do now. Now I try to not lose money no matter if I'm right or wrong, okay? But what I'm saying is I was saying bubble then because everywhere I went, every person I knew was talking about the stock market and how much money they were making in the stock market and how they were making money in AOL and Pets.com and all these stocks, and there was no way they could go down. Every time I told them I thought they were ridiculous, they just laughed me out of the room. If I go out there and say bubble now and get laughed out of the room, I get patted on the back for being smart. That is different than 2000. So for me to say that it's a bubble, I would have to see a lot more participation. Now we did get that in Korea. I do think we saw that in Korea, and we're going to find out how much of that has been taken out.
I'm going to come back to the tech stocks in just a bit, but just to jump on that note, it just made me think of this Bitcoin, okay? Using my own show and others as a gauge, I can tell you from personal experience that talking about Bitcoin and the crypto space overall has gotten me fewer clicks than maybe a year or 2 years ago. I think the same can be said for other crypto channels, many of whom have pivoted to talking about a mix of macro and geopolitics as well as crypto, by the way.
Really?
To viewership.
Right.
I don't know. Some of the sentiment data are looking. People are getting shitty. Traders are getting bullish. Make of that what you will.
Just not interested in the Bitcoin crypto conference. I was in Miami Consensus conference in May, and it was mostly guys in suits, right? Large institutional investors. JP Morgan had a stand there, for example. I'm just saying that the retail crowd that you saw in Miami a couple years ago, that's not there anymore. And I wonder, you're reading all this.
Look at all of a sudden, in the last few weeks, Bitcoin has started to trade much better.
Yeah.
Right? They've kind of given up on it here, and suddenly it trades much better. Suddenly the things that were theoretically, narrative-wise, making it go down are no longer making it go down. Because everyone's giving up on it. That's what I talk about in terms of participation and crowdedness and all that. Yeah, they don't care anymore. It's not exciting anymore. And you nailed it. People have had to switch to maintain their audience. Okay, it's disgusting in my view. Look, I have an audience. I don't switch what I'm talking about to maintain my audience. I don't start suddenly pushing funded accounts because I want to get a bigger audience. Okay, I do what I do. If you like it, great. And if you don't, then don't watch. I don't care. Okay, I'm trying to help people. People that want to maintain viewership, yeah, they have to switch from this hot thing to that hot thing to the other hot thing, and that's why they're a huge fade. And I've said it a million times. There's nothing that gets you more viewership than bear porn. Get on here and be a bear. Get on here and talk about the bubble. Get on here and say that, these stocks are going to go down, 70, 80%. And you get tons and tons of views. No question about it, right? Like I say, the whole Michael Burry thing. People don't understand that Michael Burry, The Big Short, great. Nobody makes the movie The Big Long, okay? Yeah. If Michael Burry had taken the same amount of money and the same amount of leverage and bought the stock market in 2009, he would have made multiples of the amount of money he made shorting it in 2008, right? But no one cares about that because that's not exciting. That's boring. The Big Long is boring. The Big Short is exciting. You want to be excited? Great, be excited. You want to make money? Be logical.
So is Bitcoin still underappreciated right now, you think?
Still underappreciated?
Like the sentiment is still weak. Do you think it's like...
I personally think that Bitcoin is going to be, and again, it's just my opinion, but we talked about this I think last time. The Bitcoin is basically come down in two. There's those who say it's going to 1 million, and there's those who say it's going to 0. And there's not a lot in between. And the reality is, it's a 99.999% chance it's somewhere in between. I think Bitcoin's going to be just like every other asset in the history of the world. Sometimes it's going to be a bull market, sometimes it's going to be a bear market, and it's going to swing, and the emotions are going to swing with that. When everybody gets too bearish, it's going to go up. And when everybody gets too bullish, it's going to go down. That's my personal view on Bitcoin. I'm not an expert on Bitcoin. I'm not going to get into how it's the only answer to the fiat currency scam and all that stuff. It may be. Okay, I don't have a problem with that argument, but I don't trade based on fundamental arguments like that. I trade based on market action and what market is telling me. So that's my view on Bitcoin. It certainly got to the point where, like you say, all of a sudden nobody cares anymore. Okay, that's when the risk reward improves.
That's not a buy signal to you, though? The fact that no one's talking about it? Not many people?
Relative to being a sell signal, absolutely is a buy signal.
All right. What do you think is the most overcrowded trade right now, if not the AI sector?
Some of the currency markets I find to be very overcrowded here. The long dollar trade has become overcrowded again. Okay, the Canadian dollar short, right, has become overcrowded. The New Zealand dollar short has become overcrowded. Those to me have become the most overcrowded trades. I think that the most interesting dynamic right now, based on the whole fundamental war thing in Iran, is that we had that war thing, and those who tried to buy crude because of it ended up getting burned, right? And those who tried to short stock market because of it ended up getting burned, right? The theory was crude was going to go up, interest rates were going to force interest rates up, which was going to force the stock market down, right? Crude went up, and then it went right back down in everybody's face. And if you look, on July 1st, okay, The Economist came out on July 1st with an article admitting that they were wrong about crude oil. Right, their whole call was that crude oil was going to go up. It didn't matter if the war came to an end; it was too late. The infrastructure had gotten hit already. The whole thing was a problem, and crude oil was going to do nothing but go up no matter what. That's what they were saying. As the war wore on, that's what they said. On July 1st, they said, "Look, we were wrong. We can admit it. We were wrong."
And then it went up.
That was the exact low for crude. July 1st. I'm not making this up.
No, I know you're not.
Look at the chart. See that July 1st was the low. Okay, and look up The Economist apologizing for being wrong about crude oil, and you'll see that article came out on July 1st.
You know what it is? It's they have these monthly publication schedules. That article was probably written a couple weeks prior to that. That's why there's such a
All I'm saying was it came out on July 1st, and that was low for crude. So my point being is not to write on The Economist. My point being as a measure of sentiment, right? So now the war got worse again. But this time, with recency bias, I have felt this time people don't want to get burned again. Oh, I bought crude the last time the war got bad, and all I did was get burned. And this time I don't want to do it. So this time, of course, crude is going. It's going up. It's all about the participation. If everybody buys it, then it can't go up. If nobody buys it, then it's not even for it to go up, right? So this is what makes me nervous about the markets. I think people are underappreciating the fact that crude could go a lot higher, which means at the same time, if we go back to the original premise, which means they're underappreciating the fact that interest rates could go higher. If we look today, suddenly 2 years are new highs. 5 years are new highs, 10 years are new highs, 30 years are almost new highs. It's dangerous. And then that becomes, and normally what I would say is despite crude going up, despite interest rates going up, the stock market is actually holding in very well. And normally I would say that's a sign that the stock market is strong. And I would still be careful to say that's wrong, but we might be in a case where maybe it's strong because nobody's believing that crude can go up. Nobody's believing interest rates are going to go up this time because they got burnt making those bets last time. I think that's a danger here. I wouldn't short stocks because of that, because I don't fight the tape, right? I would be long crude because crude is saying it is trading very well, right?
Maybe I'm just offering a theory here. Maybe crude isn't as important as it used to be for determining the S&P 500's earnings. By the way, the S&P 500 is, heavily weighted in tech. Tech isn't really dependent on the price of crude to maintain the margins. So maybe it doesn't really affect earnings. Yeah.
No, not only is crude, but I don't think interest rates matter that much for these stocks. A company that's growing at 100% a quarter. If interest rates go from 4.5% to 4.8%, like who cares? You know what I mean? So I think you're right. It affects more Dow type of stuff, more Russell type of stuff, right? I would argue that. But
at what point does higher crude?
That hasn't really been the case. The Dow's been outperforming. So the stock market in particular, the last couple months has been very, very difficult to read, and that's because we're in a trading range, and trading ranges are always very difficult to read. That's what trading ranges do. They whip you around.
Is right now a rotation away from tech and back into energy? Is that the play right now today?
That's certainly what people are doing.
Yeah, and how you're looking at WTI, Brent, and it looks like things move based on the situation in the Middle East. How do you trade a market like that reacts based on news, announcements, events, rather than purely sentiment and crowdedness alone?
Well, I think all markets trade on those things. They all trade on crowdedness and sentiment and the news flow. I mean, the question is not the news. The question is what is the market reaction to the news, right? And that's going to be a function of sentiment and position, right? If everybody's too bearish and too short, then the news can come out bearish and the market will go up anyway. And that's the sign where the risk reward is in your favor, right? And same thing on the other side. The news can come out bullish if everybody's already long. And this is what happened with crude, right? The greatest example I still say was April 2nd. The stock market had been coming down, like I was saying. The war was forcing crude up, was forcing interest rates up, was forcing the stock market down. That was the narrative. Well, on April 2nd, crude went up over 10% on the day, and the stock market closed up that day. Right, so it didn't matter anymore. The news flow didn't matter anymore because everybody had already gotten too short the stock market. And from that point on, the stock market went straight up. Did I claim to know the stock market was going to go up as far and as fast as it did after April 2nd? No, but I did point out the fact that look, the stock market just went up on a day when crude was up over 10%, and that's been the main driver, right? So that's an indication of where it wasn't the news, it was the reaction to the news. So I think that's what's important is the reaction to the news.
Okay,
we're not going to be able to predict the news. We're not going to know what Donald Trump is going to come out with in 2 hours about the war. That he's going to taco, he's going to bomb, he's going to blow up, or whatever he's going to do. We're not going to know unless we pay that $100,000 extra to get the first tweet, right?
You're not going to buy that, are you?
Yeah.
No, I could care less. Okay, I could care less about getting that news. I don't care what the news is. Okay, I care what the reaction is. I care what the reaction is.
Okay, let's talk about reaction to the news. So the U.S.
I care about the map, boy. Fuck the news. Fuck the news.
And
shout out
what
to
was
the
interesting to me is
fucking
that,
map.
if you recall, prior to the ceasefire having been broken, oil was going down on the expectation of a ceasefire, but it didn't immediately go all the way back up to 100 when it was broken. Basically, when the Strait of Hormuz was closed, it was at around 100, right? Expectations of reopening pushed oil back down towards 60, $65 on the WTI. But then immediately after the Strait reclosed, if you want to use the word reclosed, it didn't shoot back up to 100. In other words, the reaction was relatively muted. What does that tell you about expectations? Again,
I think it goes back to what I was talking about before. I think it was recency bias. Okay, I talked about it as that was happening. First of all, crude bottomed on July 1st. Okay, and then went up for the next few days, and then the ceasefire was declared dead. Okay, so you talk about paying Donald Trump the extra $100,000. You don't need to because the market was telling you first, right? Second of all, I think it's the recency bias, right? Nobody, again, if you got long crude because of the Iran war, you got burned, right? So you're not going to do that again, right? You're not going to do it again. The reason you got burned is because too many people got long crude. The positioning got too much. The crowdedness got too much, so it couldn't go up anymore. And this time, that's not the case. This is the least long we've seen people crude in since way before the war, right? And it doesn't appear to me, to this point, the data hasn't shown that anyone is chasing this higher because they don't want to get burned again, right? Which means that it probably has legs. And you say that it hasn't gone straight to 100, but I mean, it's gone from 68 or so,
Yeah.
that's 87, 88, right?
Yeah.
So it's working its way. It's not going to go there in a day, but it's
Right.
working its way. To me, this one is much more sustainable than the last one.
Okay, let's take a look at much more sustainable than the last one. That's a key point. Let's take a look now at gold. Sentiment here is pretty weak based on my personal observation and talking to a lot of people in the space. I've gone to conferences where miners are literally struggling to raise capital, despite the fact that they were raising a lot of capital at exactly $4,000 gold back in November, October. So at the same price point, they're struggling now versus before, just because of the direction of the price. What does that tell you?
What do you think it tells me? I mean,
Recency bias.
yeah, gold suddenly, it's been horrible, right? We know that since January. It had a huge spike in January, and then it sold off, and then it tried to get close back to the size again, it failed, and it's just been in a bear market really since January. Has not traded well. On the back of what the narrative was that interest rates are going higher, and higher interest rates meant bad news for assets like gold and silver. Well, suddenly, just in the last few days, gold is shrugging that off, right? Like I said, interest rates are making new highs here, and gold stopped making new lows, and so did silver.
Like,
And so did
I
Bitcoin.
don't like.
And this was the excuses that we were hearing.
Another thing about like me, like all this yapping about fucking news, this fundamentals, that, blah blah blah. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know. It just seems like no one fucking cares, right? Like, it's just math. It's just literally fucking math. Like, no one gave a fuck what was happening in the news here. None of this shit. It was just a massive statistical outlier blow off top, and you're taking that short. And on the breakouts and the way up, you're taking the longs. No one gives a fuck what the news is, right? I feel like people are just like, I don't know why people are so compelled to have like a narrative or explanation for everything. Who fucking cares why this shit's happening? All that matters is what you're seeing here with your fucking eyes.
For why those things were going down in the first half of the year was because higher interest rates. And even, oh, well, central banks can't buy gold anymore because they have to buy oil. You know, that whole China central bank has to buy oil to fill up the reserves now, so they can't buy gold. I'm not going to say whether these things are true or not. I'm just saying this is a narrative that we were hearing. Well, oil's going back up, interest rates are going back up, and gold stopped going down, and silver stopped going down, and Bitcoin stopped going down. So again, the tape is starting to change here. And I think that's important right at a time when you were telling me things like nobody wants to finance gold anymore.
Mhm.
So there you have it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I know you don't pick tops and bottoms here, but people look for consolidating patterns all the time. You know, how do you approach that topic?
What do you mean by consolidating patterns?
People say, look, let's take gold, for example. It's been trading around 4,000, consolidating around 4,000. That means it's bottoming out. That means it's waiting for a breakout.
I don't approach it that way at all.
Okay.
I approach it just like we just spoke about. Right? What has the narrative been? And where does that narrative break down? Right? Where does the market start saying, I'm not agreeing with the narrative anymore. I want to go with the market and against the narrative. And it takes time
Generally-
it takes time to build a narrative. And to say I don't pick turns, actually, that is what I do. And that's what turns look like. When the market stops reacting to what has been the major narrative,
I see.
that's what
I was
turns
like, I
look
wouldn't really
And that's what
call
turns
this like
look
a
guarantee.
consolidation pattern, right? Like, could compare how long like these bases are, like compared to this is nothing. So I wouldn't be too fucking quick to call this like the bottom on gold.
Guarantee that was a low for gold? Of course not. But it gives you a good risk reward. You can be long here. If it takes out a new low, well, then it wasn't the turn. So you
Yeah.
stop out. But if it was the new low, if that was the low, well, then you got a long way up. That's what this whole game is about. Risk reward. That's what it's about. Getting into situations where you can make a lot of money if it works and lose a very small amount of money if it doesn't work because every trade's not going to work. So let's lose a small amount on the ones that don't. Let's make a lot on the ones that do.
Yeah, generally speaking, does it matter for you how long an asset stays around a certain price level? Let's just take
No.
gold. It's on my screen. Yeah, it was back in 2015, right? It was around $3,200, $3,300 for about a year.
Yeah.
And then you know,
irrelevant to me.
back in the since the 1981 crash, it was basically hovering around $300 to $500 for 20 years.
Yeah.
Gone a bit lower, gone a bit higher.
Mhm.
It doesn't indicate anything to you. Not by itself.
For me, in my trading process and the way that I handle markets and try to look for risk reward, no, it means nothing to me.
Okay. Has anything, speaking of turns, has anything shifted in sentiment from a couple months ago besides what we talked about so far with gold and Bitcoin, and also with the DXY, which you considered overcrowded right now?
No, I think that kind of covers it all. We covered sort of the stocks, we covered the energy, we covered the metals, we covered a little bit of bonds, we covered some of the dollar. So yeah, I think that
The fact that everyone's talking about higher interest rates and that's already been factored in the CME Fed Watch tool, does that make you want to start going long on bonds right now?
is everybody talking about higher interest rates? I don't know.
Well-
You tell me. You talk to a lot more people than I do.
Yeah, well, on my show, at least, the Bank of America, let's just taking financial institutions as an example, have actually used the expectations for higher interest rates, like you talked about, to lower their gold forecast for the rest of the year. And
Right.
Once big banks start doing that, it means the expectations kind of baked in. So I'm wondering if that's something you're looking at as a turning indicator for
I
bonds.
think again, I think that means it's baked into gold.
Okay.
Which is why gold is no longer. Is it baked in? How do we know? Well, how does the market react to it? That's how we know, right? And clearly, gold has stopped reacting negatively to that idea. So rather than try and buy bonds, I would rather buy gold.
Yeah, you mentioned stop out when things don't go your way. So tell us about your risk management strategy and how you decide when to stop out of things.
My process, by definition, is a turn picking process. So if I find that people are way too short something, I am looking to get long. I don't get long just because of that. I get long when the market confirms what I'm thinking. And the market confirming what I'm thinking, as we just talked about, is what is the narrative that's been driving this thing down? What is the narrative that has been getting everybody too short? Okay. And when does the market stop reacting poorly to that narrative? On the day that it stops reacting poorly to that narrative, so here we go, gold. Let's say I find that people are way too short gold. I want to get long it. What has been driving it? It's been driven by exactly what you just said, right? The idea that interest rates are going to go higher and that was going to be bad for gold. Okay.
What is he writing? I always wonder that, right? Like, what is this guy always writing down while he's in mid speech?
That has been working. And all of a sudden, 4 days ago, interest rates went higher and gold didn't go down anymore. It did go down and then it closed up on the day for no reason. So I would get long there. That's the turn, the potential turn. If it takes out that low, then by definition, it is not a turn. If we make a new low, then the market has not turned, right? So if my theory is that's the turn, well, then if we make a new low, then it's not the turn, then I get out. And that's my risk, right? So I know where I'm getting in. I know where I'm getting out. If I'm going to get stopped. So I know how much I'm risking. So therefore, I invest that much so that I risk a certain percentage of my portfolio, which you can target based on the volatility you want. For me, I risk 70 basis points of my portfolio on a single trade, which gets me to the volatility that I want, which is lower than what most people want, but that's just how I am. I'm an old man. So that's how I handle my risk. And if it works and ends up being right, well, then I ride it until these conditions no longer exist, until I find that people are no longer crowded short and people are no longer super bearish, and then I get out and I take my profit.
How do you confirm that something isn't turning the way you expect it to? So let's say you're long gold, you expect it to turn, and it goes down, even though
Because it breaks the low.
Okay? Does it have to go down a certain percentage, or does it have to stay down for a certain amount of time before you start realizing, okay, that confirmation, that turn isn't here, and you should get out?
It has to stop performing poorly on news that supports the narrative.
Okay.
So if the narrative is gold is going down because interest rates are going higher, and then interest rates go higher and gold can no longer go down, that's it for me. It's not a question of I am long gold because I think people are too short. No, I'm not getting long gold until the market does that confirmation. So I need that. That's how the confirmation looks. Whether that takes a day, a week, a month, a year, or a decade, doesn't matter to me. Okay. But I will wait until that confirmation happens. I need the market to confirm my thoughts before I will do anything. And I would say that no matter how you trade, you have to do that. I don't care what your thoughts are. It's a bubble. Okay,
Let's take oil, for example. People have some people have
Not
told me
really,
that
right? Not really. See, this kind of circles back to what we were talking about yesterday. People that are like, like the whole confirmation thing. Like I don't agree with that statement he made, right? That, like, regardless of your style of trading, like, you need to let the market confirm it. Not really. Not really. You know, if you're mathing it up, you can catch the wick.
channels as well. Perhaps the oil market has become.
At the end of the day, like, both methods are not surefire, guaranteed 100% win rate, right? So as long as you're like methodical about it, really not that different, except that you're setting yourself up for much better entries. But like with this guy's like different approach to us, right? This is someone who's like trading on daily charts, etc. And I'm pretty sure he does like on like trades like on market close. Regardless, yeah, I don't think that was like a very like fair statement for him to make.
Started to become a little less more desensitized, so to speak, to Trump's announcement. So let's say every time he announces a peace deal, or let's say every time he announces, just today, for example, he announced that he's going to bomb Iranian infrastructure if more tankers in the Strait of Hormuz will be hit by the Iranians. Okay, now did oil move up on that? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But have you noticed oil reacting less and less to Trump's announcements either way?
I mean, it was up 3%.
Yeah.
But certainly it gets to a point, you know, where Trump's announcements become desensitized. Because just like anything, boy who cried wolf, you know, there comes a certain point where no one's going to listen to it anymore.
So as a trader, how do you differentiate between a failed confirmation versus just news that's not important anymore?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Very tough one. You have to sort of pay attention to how the stuff has been reacting to it, you know. But like I say, now that people have become they weren't saying that the oil market was desensitized back in, you know, February, March, April. They're saying it now. That's the difference, right? When they're not saying it is when it became desensitized. Now that they are saying it, and now oil's going up again. That's what we've been talking about today, right? So this is what I'm saying. That there's a difference. There's a difference based on positioning, based on sentiment. Two markets, same fundamentals, same sort of news driving it, react differently based on what the current sentiment and positioning is.
All right, we talked about stocks, Bitcoin, gold, rates, oil, trading in general. Tell us about your channel, what you're following now, and what we can expect for your next video or any announcements you're making.
Any announcements? I mean, look, we do a weekly newsletter. And then on top of that, I try to do at least one video. Well, I mean, we do a daily video every day. Market close, kind of 5-minute. Hey, here's the things that we're looking at, and here's how they're acting, and here's how markets are reacting to news. Like I said, not here's my prediction for the news. Here was the news, and here's how the market reacted. And was there any surprise there? And is that giving us any message? That's kind of what the end of day videos focus on. I do a weekly video where I try to do all kinds of different subjects. Sometimes I'll interview people that we find interesting. Sometimes I'll talk about different market things that come up on our Discord, you know, that are bothering me. You know, I think I'm gonna do a video this week about how to try to avoid internet scams when it comes to market gurus and all that, because we've had a number of people join who come on and tell me their stories about, hey, I joined this guy's site, I joined that guy's site, and they totally fooled me, I totally got scammed, and I totally lost money, and I wish I could have avoided that. So I'm seeing a lot of the behavior for how people fall for that. So I'm going to do a video this week about that. I think, it's just these subjects that come up. It's interesting because we have a lot of people on our Discord and a lot of people that communicate with me, so I get a good feel for what people are feeling and thinking, and I try to do videos every week that are along those lines, because if they're feeling and thinking that, then a lot of people are probably feeling and thinking that. So, this is more of a education of how to trade thing. Well, I'm not inviting people on here by saying Jason Shapiro is the greatest trader who ever lived, and all you have to do is follow the trades that he does, and you're going to make millions of dollars. That's not the point here. I try to tell people not to do that. The idea is we're trying to educate people on how the market actually works, how to find good risk reward, what trading really is about. And can you use some of the lessons that I teach in my trading to help you do that? Yes, but you can learn lessons from other good traders as well and put them all together and become a better trader, a much more disciplined trader. That's really the message we're trying to get through. It's not sexy. I'm not on their live day trading room, okay, getting a live day trade so you can copy trade and get a funded account. That's not what we're about. I know that's a very popular subject. What I always tell people that want to do that stuff is please go ahead and do that. And after you blow out, if you're still interested in actually trading and actually getting involved in the market and actually making money over time, then come and join us, because I'm of no value to you until you learn those lessons.
The thing is, there are some people like, what would be a good example of this? What's that Asian guy's name? Like Martin Lunk, I think it is. Also like Ariel. Like there are some people that stream on YouTube like that are not grifters, and it's free. Although some of them, like, what would be the best way to say this? How do I say this without being insulting? I don't even know. I guess I just have a gripe with people. At the end of the day, a lot of trading is very subjective, right? It's very personalized based on your style of trading, your methodology, etc. And like, yes, there are shared fundamental values that we all have as like professional traders that you kind of need to have to make it. But like once you get outside of that, that's not the case, right? Like there's a lot of variation. And a lot of these people speak very, very definitively as if there is right or wrongs about things that's not like valid to say. And that kind of shit like pisses me off. It's very like misleading to people that are new to trading because they don't know the better, right? So like, they're just watching this person and just absorbing whatever they say as if it's gospel. Like for instance, like I have my style of trading, and do I think it's probably better in terms of getting like really well sniped risk reward trades? Yes. But I can also sit here and admit that, yeah, it's not for everybody. And there are also like cons to it. And I wouldn't sit there and tell somebody else that trades a different way to not do it. Like that their way is like wrong, you must do this or blah, blah, blah.
I can't teach a 22-year-old kid that knows everything, anything. So once you struggle, that'd be a good time to come and hopefully learn if you're still interested. So,
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jason. We'll put the links to your work down below so people should check that out. Appreciate your time. We'll speak next time. Take care.
Always great talking to you, David.
Always great to have you. Thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, follow Jason. Links down below.
I gotta get my laundry soon. Hey, we're gonna watch this and then we're out here. Maybe we'll look at some charts after.
The famous trade that George Soros used came from this particular trader. He
Actually, let's get some water first. Get something to snack on before it gets too late.
Cause while I'm watching up here, 618 hit, now we're heading to the boat. Everything's light, yeah, we're staying afloat. Fashion and logic, the silhouette is keen. She's a masterpiece, I'm a ghost in a machine. Institutional flow, yeah, the volume is deep. Making all the profit while the world is asleep. Exotic life, surgical knife. The auction is balanced, avoiding a strife.
Golden pockets, global profit.
The math is the math. High in the hills with a bad thing, yeah. Trading the value is a mad thing, yeah. Afrobeat bounce and the rhythm is bright. We don't see the sun, we just own the night. The math is a luxury vibe. Inside the party, providing for the tribe. Too easy. The math is the math. The math is the math. Marcos trades.
Hardcore trades. Math.
Marcos trades.
Math.
Off the charts, get it. High off the profit, easy money. High off the profit, easy money.
618. The math is the math.
High off the profit, yeah. Easy trading in the zone. High off the profit, yeah. Blue sky, easy money. High off the profit, yeah. Easy money, easy trading. High off the profit. High off the profit.
Always thrifted.
Easy money. Marcos trades. Is it real? Or is it just the math? Midnight static, staring at the screen again.
Midnight static, staring at the screen again. Watching shadows move where the trend begins. They call it luck, but I see the architecture falling through the noise, a silent director. I'm a ghost in the tape, drifting through the range. Everything I love is starting to feel strange. Exotic views, but my eyes are on the tick. The world moves slow, but the execution's quick. Sides of smoke curling like a Fibonacci line. Living in the future, leaving all the past behind.
Spaced out, floating in the value area. Digital soul, moving through the barrier. Melancholy money and the view is cold. Counting up the secrets that were never told.
The math is the math.
Why does it feel so lonely? 61-8 surgical. But I can feel the floor. Always prepared. Just a glitch, just a ghost. Marcos trades.
Marcos trades. They didn't believe. The math did.
Up at 3 a.m. with nothing but a chart. Just a chart. No one in my corner, only data in the dark. Through the levels, nobody would ever validate. Studied ocean theory while they told me it was fake. Screens illuminating everything I sacrificed. Every loss a lesson, paid a very heavy price. Once a reading or the flow before it clicked. Now they asking how I move so cold and so equipped. Wasn't overnight, wasn't luck either. Was the darkest rooms, being my own believer. Math was all I had, when the doubt was loudest. Now the silence is different, when the P&L is proudest.
Made it out the grind with nobody watching. Penthouse now, but remember when I had nothing. Surgical precision, every entry calculated. They slept on the vision, now they standing there and waited.
Cold execution, build it from the bottom. Every sleep sleepless night is something they forgot about. Cold execution, math was my religion. Not a Bugatti sitting pretty, that's the only decision. They laughed at the screens I had mounted on the wall. Risk management spreadsheets covering the hall. Back testing every setup while they party through the night. Reading institutional footprints underneath the light. VY deviations map before the open bell. 0.5 retracements, knew those levels well. 618 confluence stack so clean. Built the whole foundation on what nobody else could see. Ferrari wasn't motivation, it was consequence. What happens when the discipline outgrows the evidence? They want the penthouse view without the lonely nights, without the years of getting it wrong before you get it right. Wasn't overnight, wasn't luck either. Was the darkest rooms, being my own believer. Math was all I had when the doubt was loudest. Now the silence is different when the P&L is proudest.
Made it out the grind with nobody watching. Nobody in house now, but remember when I had nothing. Surgical precision, every entry calculated. He slept on the vision, now he's standing there and waited.
Cold execution, build it from the bottom. Every sleepless night is something they forgot about. Cold execution, math was my religion. Not a Bugatti sitting pretty, that's the only decision. Nobody called, nobody checked. Just me in the order book, earning respect. Blew the account, blew it, build it back up, build it. Cried over losses, never gave up. Told myself the math would eventually land. Now the jet is fuel, and I'm the one they call the man. They never saw the hours, they never saw the pain. They only see the Lambo, they only see the chain. But I remember every candle, every loss, every night. Cold execution built this from when nothing was right.
Made it out the ground with nobody watching. Nobody in house now, but remember when I had nothing. Surgical precision, every entry calculated. Slept on the vision, now he's standing there and waited.
Cold execution, build it from the bottom. Every sleepless night is something they forgot about. Cold execution, math was my religion. Not a Bugatti sitting pretty, that's the only decision. Nobody believed, the math did. Built it anyway. Cold execution, Marcos. They'll never understand the grind. The math always knew. Marcos trips.
Oh, we gotta update the playlist.
The math is the math.
There's so many new songs. Let me answer this text and we'll power through this video. I need to get my laundry still. Did I put a timer? What the fuck is this? Bum, 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 bum.
Beachfront view, flex, digital do, check. The auction is balanced. We never gonna lose. Golden pockets. Island coffee. The math is the math is the math. Trading on the shore, yeah, we doing it for real. I in rhythm, but the precision is steel. Inside the value for the bounce, for the vibe. Turning up the energy, providing for the tribe. The math is the math, yeah, we do it with ease. Chasing big targets in the Caribbean breeze. Too easy.
Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Where is this thing?
Himself had a trade that was $300 million.
I never looked at a chart for the first 5 years I traded. I had a motto on my desk, and every sunken ship had a chart.
This guy is one of the most aggressive forex traders the world has ever seen. Introducing the one and only Andy Krieg.
I developed this excellent relationship with many of the banks in New Zealand. I was calling the banks and saying what's going on, and they started sharing positions of some of the big traders. This is like a rigged little mafia dynamic. And all I'm doing is I'm setting up the market to go slam it, make it into a synthetic put, which means I'm going to sell 5 billion Kiwi. I'm trying to crush the Kiwi. I'm going to drive it through every stop. It went 10% in like, I don't know, 25 minutes. Just collapsed.
Andy set the playbook that later George Soros would use to crash the UK pound. Andy did it first by crashing the New Zealand dollar. And in this episode, not only will you learn exactly how he did that, but more importantly, what traders of today should be doing in order to really get their fingers on the pulse of the market. Do you think a lot more people should be looking at options trading?
One of the guys I did a lot of business with over the years was chief dealer at Swiss Bank. He said, we're dealing with guns and bullets. You're dealing with nuclear bombs. These options they're turbocharged. So the answer is, if people don't know what they're doing, they should actually stay away from options. But
Not only will you get direct insight into that wealth of experience, but you will also learn exactly how you should be interacting with the markets today. All this and more on this special episode on Words of Risk.
over the years, I think I probably hired maybe 40 different traders, different backgrounds, different experiences. One of the things that I always advise people to do is,
I want to go straight into it, as I just mentioned. I know a lot of people probably are interested in it as well. Can you walk us through that $300 million trade that you took that essentially, again, same terminology I've seen, broke the Bank of New Zealand?
okay, well, let me give the context. So the context was, I was having a very good year. So I had a big kitty of profits built up from trading across many currencies. And I'd never traded the New Zealand dollar before. I was very heavily involved in the Australian dollar, basically every major currency pair except the Kiwi. And however, I had strong banking relations with the people in New Zealand because, why? It was late in New York. So I wanted to have liquidity. I always wanted liquidity so I could get my trades done. And because, I'll get a little context if it's okay, which is, the portfolio was a blend of many different types of strategies. My portfolio, which was, I had some directional plays, I had volatility plays, I had all kinds of cross plays, trend following plays, every sort of trade you might think of was embedded in my portfolio with different categorical numbers for each strategy. So I had like 29 different trades on at a time. And so I always needed liquidity, both in options as well as in spot and forwards. And so I developed this excellent relationship with many of the banks in New Zealand. I never traded their currencies, they said, but it was not long after, right around the time of the, well, let's just say it was chaotic in the markets at the time, okay? And I was calling the banks and saying, what's going on? And the banks upset me. I mean, I took it very personally because they started sharing positions of some of the big traders. And I was like, so wait, you're telling me that, in fact, they started talking about my former trading partner, Bill Lipschitz. Said, oh yeah, Lipschitz he's long New Zealand dollars, he's long from here, and we think his stop will be down here. And I called Bill, I said, Bill, are you long or short here? He said, no, I'm short. I said, okay, fine. So they were, not only were they sharing positions and names, but they were giving me the wrong story. I said, this is, first of all, you shouldn't ever talk about your clients. So now I'm getting upset. I'm thinking, wait, what are they saying about me? So now I'm like, okay, let's dig into this some more. So I started calling around and I said, you know what, where's the New Zealand dollar going, guys? So I talked to one bank and another bank, and every one of them, the currency just rallied enormously. It rallied like 14 cents. So it was almost, it was almost a 30% rally, straight up. And I said, yeah, the currency's going up. I said, well, tell me about it, why? So, well, we've had high inflation, we have high interest rates, but if we have good CPI numbers, better than expected, that's going to be good for the fundamentals, so people buy the Kiwi. I said, oh, and what if the numbers come in bad? I said, oh, well, that means higher interest rates. Kiwi's going to go up, it's going to buy the Kiwi. I said, oh, so basically this is a one-way bet. Absolutely, mate, you got to jump on board. Okay, now I'm getting interested. And then the guy called me, so I had it wrong on Lipschitz. He said, no, Lipschitz is short. I said, that's nice. And I'm thinking, you're telling me about someone's positions, and now I'm really getting upset with this thing. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start playing in the Kiwi. So I sold some Kiwi. And theoretically, the market wasn't that deep. So I said, well, I'll sell 50 million New Zealand dollars against the US. I sold 50 million. And as soon as I sell it, it starts ticking up. I said, huh? That's a decent sized trade. I called another bank. Price on 50 Kiwi. Sold 50 million Kiwi. Again, price goes up. I'm like, it's amazing. It's really bid. So I sold again. 50 million. Price goes up again. I go, well, and now they're calling me to tell me about, oh, we're here in New York is really quite short. Oh, it's going to be a big squeeze. I know, that's nice. So now I'm getting really ticked off. Okay. I have people calling me about my trades and about other people's trades. I'm like, this is like a rigged little mafia down here. This isn't right. So I did check around and what I could identify was that below certain levels, maybe 64 cents or so, they were going to be able to squeeze all the longs out. Because every trend following guy was long, naturally, because we just had a 30% rally. And the dairy board New Zealand was long, and all these different guys were long. And I'm like, okay, so the market's long. The market makers are trying to squeeze it higher. Okay. And I waited a couple days, and I went again, sold 50 million again, and it didn't go up. I said, oh, maybe they're done. I sold 50 million more. Now I'm short 250 million Kiwi, which is a big position for New Zealand. There's not a lot of people there, right?
Of course.
And it actually started trading a little lower. And then it went up again. I said, okay, I know what to do here. So I put on a massive call option position. Why? Because they hear about this guy in New York, this crazy guy buying 5 billion New Zealand dollars worth of call options. They figure I must be wildly bullish. And all I'm doing is I'm setting up the market to go slam it, make it into a synthetic put, which means I'm going to sell 5 billion Kiwi. I'm trying to crush the Kiwi. And I'm going to drive it through every stop. So I structured it where I bought the calls, and I decided not to do any more trades in New Zealand. I didn't want them to see what I was doing. So I lined up a bunch of small banks out of Singapore, out of Hong Kong,
And now I'm slowly leaking the kiwi in, and it starts breaking down, and then I started buying some out of the money puts, and then we got close to 64 cents, and I just slammed it, and then it crashed. It went 10% in like, I don't know, 25 minutes, just collapsed. And so it was the right trade. The market was wildly long. They were all caught. I got into it for the wrong reasons. Would I do it again that way? No. The basic concept was the right concept.
Yeah.
Because I knew that first I had a limited loss, and I could handle the loss because I had a huge profit already in the year. But I wasn't willing to ignore what I thought was really something unethical. I said, that's just wrong. And it just bugged me so much. And I said, it's the right trade. So for every reason, I'm going to do this trade. It was not that easy to get out of it. I had death threats. I had a lot of people lost jobs because the dealers got caught. And that part of it was not good.
Of course.
I mean, it was like serious. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting protection because I did this stupid trade in New Zealand. It's like, this is really weird. But it was, so the money I made in other currencies that year, it was much better in other currencies than in New Zealand. But I was able to do it quietly enough that it didn't disrupt things. I didn't have central banks upset with me. I didn't have, all that kind of stuff. But it was the same logic where the market was definitely long. I knew they were long. I knew the market makers wanted me to buy. And I knew that there were going to be stops at certain levels. Because I was running trend following systems. So I knew where stops would be based on a variety of different trend following signals. I said, stops are going to be between here and here. Because most of these guys were sort of medium term trend following guys at the time. I said, okay, fine. So it was just a perfect setup. After a 30% rally without a correction, we're going to correct. It wasn't that complicated in a way, but the way I structured it was clever. I never could have gotten that liquidity at those prices if I hadn't started with a call option. It was a combination of using options and psychology in the market.
Trading education is completely broken. For years, the industry has been purged and poisoned by bad actors, fake results, and strategies hidden behind paywalls. But in every industry, every once in a while, it becomes a catalyst, a moment in time to change. Now imagine a world where elite trading education was entirely free. Education with no hidden agenda, verified trading results, and real profitable strategies.
Where's the button? Goddamn.
No, my chart. 5-7-figure trader. I've been trading for 10 years. Expensive global is going to change. Strategically position this sort of trade. And what led you to sort of developing that's the kind of mindset that allowed you to strategically position this sort of trade? And just generally speaking, is that something that you still will look for to this day in terms of structuring your trades in a very I would say complex, but what I mean is being able to structure in a way that would allow you to have your desired outcome efficiently, so that you don't have to worry about how am I getting out of this trade? Is this trade going to will limit your downside as well, no doubt as well?
So a little background. I never wanted to be a trader. I'm not sure I want to be a trader now. So it's like I wanted to be a professor of Indian philosophy. That was my dream. So I finished my coursework for my PhD. I was a Sanskrit, studied Bengali, Arabic, a bunch of languages, and ready to defend my dissertation. And that professor sat me down. He said, you're really good at this. He said, I worked with you for many years. And the Defense Department funded a bunch of my studies for the study of neglected languages. So Bengali and Arabic fit in that category. So they funded all my graduate work. And he said, look, you're really good. And he said, but you won't get a job until one of us dies. He said, basically, if you take all of his teaching Indian philosophy, you put it on a bus or a van, you drive it off a cliff, you get a job. I'm like, huh? Really? He said, no, really. So you'll survive. You'll be like a teaching assistant and you'll do some odd jobs. But like, I don't think that's a great strategy. So we talked about it, and he said, well, you want to be a lawyer? I said, oh God, no. He said, you want to do business? I said, that sounds awful too. He said, well, but that's only 2 years. Why don't you go for an MBA? So we just shifted over to the Wharton School from the other. And although the deal was I had to keep studying the other languages to keep my scholarship. So my Wharton program was full-time Wharton with some more Sanskrit and Bengali stuff. So I ended up going through for free. But the problem was I had no work experience. So with no work experience, like, well, all these guys at school, like they all worked engineers, they were management, they worked at banks, consulting firms. I was studying Sanskrit. I mean, I'm not going to get a job. So I said, well, I know. I'll pretend I'm doing something in international finance. So I went down to help me make a sort of a resume CV with no work experience. Talked about the language being perfect training for foreign exchange. So that's, and then I ended up taking a course on options. And the options professor said, well, you're interested in foreign exchange? I said, yeah, sure. He said, well, why don't you write a currency option pricing model? I said, well, I've never done any programming. He said, well, I'll help you figure it out, but you'll get it. So that was my final thing in Wharton, was doing a currency option pricing model. So it seemed natural if I ended up going into trading. But what I liked about trading, when I got my first job at Solomon, was using options. It's three-dimensional, not two-dimensional. So, my point was saying, you can be very creative. You can structure any kind of bet. You can have directional bets. You can have bets on changes in volatility, changes in time. You can have all these different things layered in. And so it's a chance to be creative. I said, this is okay. I'm never going to get bored because I'm always going to find new ways to express an idea. So that was how I went from, being able to figure out ways to make liquidity. I created liquidity by doing that sort of thing. Then when my first job at Solomon, we didn't have a big desk. It was just myself and Bill Lipschitz, who was a famous trader. We had a fantastic team, just the two of us. And then Bill said, I want to go to London so we can start getting customers. I said, well, we had no customers. It was all prop. So he said, so the good news is we'll get some customers. We'll get some customer flow. So the bad news is you have to be in the office to cover in case I get a customer business. You have to do it. So now I'm in the office at 4 a.m. And he said, oh, and you have to stay there until Tokyo lunch, which is 11 at night. So for me, it was, in a way it was suffering. In a way it was great because I watched the screens for 12, 19 hours a day. It was insane. But I learned a lot. But I also developed ways to get liquidity. So I'll give you an example. So we had a very big book. I mean, it was a massive book. At the time, no one else was running books like that in currency options. And the challenge was finding liquidity because we weren't a bank. We were an investment bank, and the banks tried to keep us out. So what I found is that there were about 8 or 10 banks that actually would take our orders and execute them properly. And there were a few banks that were what I call the pigs. So if I gave one an order to sell, say, $100 million against whatever, the yen or against Swiss franc, whatever, I knew they would do at least 200, 250 for themselves, front running my order, trying to push the market against me. So what I developed were strategies where I would have the good guys and the bad guys, and I would set them against each other. So I might set up where I might give a bunch of smaller orders to the good guys who would really do it properly, and I give a bunch of orders, a few bigger orders to the bad guys, knowing that they were going to try to front run my order, and they were going to fill the orders I actually wanted to get filled. So maybe I'd have, for example, $800 million of orders lined up with the good guys. Maybe I'd have $500 million of bad orders, with the bad guys, I should say. And then what happens? So the bad guys go in and slam the market right into my real buy orders. So it was basically, it became this weird psychology game. And so everything was like a puzzle. So it was interesting.
Would you say that that is still true to this day in terms of it being like a puzzle?
There's still some aspects of it, like the strategies that we use now were strategies, variations of strategies, of part of what I've been doing since the 80s. So it works. You can't do this for a long time unless it really works, and they work. So the basic thing is we always look for inefficiencies. We look for mispricings, structural inefficiencies. So for example, if you know that the Japanese have to do hedging coming into quarter end and haven't done their selling of dollars or buying of dollars, whatever it might be, that's an inefficiency because there's a herd mentality and they're going to have certain things going on. So trading's really always about finding inefficiencies. And so, yeah, there are some structural inefficiencies that we capture.
Traders, let me tell you about the best futures firm in the trading industry with the largest payout cap across any firm, and that is right, Alpha Futures. Alpha Futures has been a proud sponsor of Words of Wisdom for the last 2 years and running for one very simple reason. They have an option for every trader, from their zero accounts to their standard accounts or to their advanced accounts. You see the options on screen right now.
I mean, not really applicable to most people.
Around the world, just like me and you, their payout cap.
I'd imagine most people that are watching this are not going to find this particularly interesting. I mean, it is interesting. We'll say that. I'm gonna get my laundry though. We'll be back in a little bit. I'll just leave this vibing out.
Always protect. Tropical energy, digital precision. Marco's trades. Marco's trades.
Sweet, pixel perfect, feel the heat. Value area high, we plot the zone. Math is the king up on the throne. POC, the center of gravity. Trading on data, escaping depravity. You're longing the wick, you're losing your head. I'm stacking the millions, I'm staying ahead. The math is the math. The math is the math. The math is the math.
Got 'em. The math is the math.
Watch it go. Watch it go.
It's so perfect.
The math is the math.
Elite levels, elite life, cutting through the market like a knife. Value area high, value area low.
The math is the math.
Marco's treasures. Check the coordinates. The map is the map. Yeah. Got him. Yeah. Santorini sunset love. Santorini sunset laptop on the wood. Yeah. Trading from the villa, yeah, the levels looking good. Yeah. Got a dark skinned beauty, she's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah. While I'm checking on the Greeks, then I check him again. Glitters on our side, yeah, we're soaking up the sun. By the time the candle closes, yeah, the work is already done. No stress in my spirit, no fear in my soul. Yeah. Just a pixel perfect entry, yeah, I'm in full control. We don't trade on feelings, we don't trade on hope. We just ride the volatility like a tightrope. From Bali to Ibiza, yeah, the view is elite. Watching all the top longers facing defeat. The math is the math, yeah, the math is the math. Living my best life, clearing out the path. Exotic locations, yeah, the energy is right. Printing all the blue while we're dancing through the night. Easy money, baby, and a girl is divine. Levels on the screen and a hand is in mine. Yeah, we got him. Exotic vehicles parked out on the sand. I'm a global citizen moving through the land. Implied volatility, yeah, we sell it to the crowd. Blowing on that Zaza, yeah, the flavor is loud. Wall Street's hating, yeah, they're stuck in a suit. While I'm in a linen shirt eating fresh fruit. The math is it's a global language. Leaving all the emotional traders in damage. Global flow, math. Island glow, math. Target hit, math. What you bring? The math is the math, yeah, the math is the math. Living my best life, clearing up the path. Exotic locations, yeah, the energy is right. Printing all the blue while we're dancing through the night. Easy money, baby, and the girl is divine. Levels on the screen and the hand is in mine. Different time zone, same math. The math is the math. You get cut.
Marco's traits. The math is the math. I can't get it out of my head. The math is the math. I can't get it out of my head. Midnight glamour, glass of the finest gold. I'm looking at the candles, watching the truth unfold. They tell me I'm obsessed, they say I've gone too far, but I'm just scanning levels from the back of the car. 618, the rhythms in my veins, institutional flow, washing away the pains. Always planned, always prepared for the strike. I've got exactly what the market makers like. It ain't no fun if you don't cross the line. I'm hunting for the value, yeah, I do it every time. Did they tell you I might be out of my mind, or just the only one who left the noise behind? I got trading on my mind. The math is the math. Inside the value, yeah, the rhythm is divine. I got trading on my mind. Too easy. I got trading on my mind. Easy. I got trading on my mind. Skinny margaritas, but the profit's looking fat. Don't stand against the wall, I'm way beyond all that. Custom silk is flowing, the auction's in a groove. I'm already in position before the price can move. Zaza smoke is dancing with the strobe light glow. Surgical with entries, watch the liquidity flow. Luxury and logic, yeah, they're fused into one. The day is just beginning when the trading is done. Value area high, value area low. It's the only thing I see everywhere I go. The math is the math. The math is the math. Marcos Trades.
Marcos Trades. Them not ready still. Zaza, 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 Zaza in the air, on the level them set. Level set. Level set. Pull the trigger up on the trade and no break or sweat. No sweat. No sweat. Push on my floating but the mark still sharp. Still sharp. 618 the entry, hit it right. Panama. Panama. Them a stress the charts and still can't read that thing. Can't read. We have vibe on the rooftop while the prophet sing. Prophet sing. Half asleep at open bell. Position already right. Already. Close the trade by noon and book a flight that night. Book it. They are work so hard, then still I miss the move. We are barely trying and we still inside the groove. Still inside. Hiding and the match still cold. Hiding and the story still told. Hiding, still up performing everybody. Load pot burning what we profit. Ain't nobody stopping we. Nobody. Them a cry about the market. We all laugh from the penthouse view. Hiding, them don't need us sober to come true. Hiding, levels old. Hiding, watch it unfold. Got them at the top, got them at the low. Hiding, running things, that's all them need to know. Wall Street, in a panic, we are at the room service. Room service. Them up here for algorithms, we built us from purpose. DOC magnetic, pull the back again. Value area I rejected. Like we said it in. Jetpack ready. Bugatti keep on the table. Barely watching screens, but the execution stable. Them a chat for hours, we already knew. I am still more accurate than anything them do. Them a hustle hard, we a float easy. Mat so locked in. Nothing can breach with. Nothing. Load in the air, levels in the mind. Them a lose them cool, we just press decline. Marcos Trades. Ike. Map still sharp. Got them always. Marcos Trades. Yeah. Check the tape.
Okay, we're back. Things are about to break the lows. God damn.
Got him.
God damn. Sounds it. Bobby Lambs, hi. Hello, Bobby Lambs. Bobby Lambs.
Wall Street's looking at the order flow, scratching their heads. We're in the golden pocket, tucking top long as the bed. It's a unit, it's a squad, every entry is a strike. Moving as a shadow, tell me what that's like. They trade on the feeling, we trade on
Whoops.
They're looking for a hero, we're looking for the leaks. Implied volatility, we're selling them the dream while we're stacking up the blue, the elite level team. The math is the math, yeah, the math is the math.
Whoops.
As a unit, clearing up the path. Wall Street is envious, the haters feel impressed. Cause we're living lavish, put the numbers to the test. From the penthouse view to the exotic fleet, running the whole game, keeping it discreet. The math is the math.
That's what to do, fuck.
Yeah, we got 'em. Ferraris in a line, yeah, we move like a convoy.
Oh, yeah.
We're playing with the big boys. Staters on our side, watching premiums decay while you're short in the bottom, having
Damn near forgot, boy.
eyes in the air, but the focus is precise. Never ask the market, we just dictate the price. Haters talking loud, but their balance is a joke. We're signing off the wire while they're going for broke. Locked in, locked in. Levels hit. Targets rigged. The gang is fed. The math is the math. You got math is the math. Yeah, the math is the math.
Oh,
When as a unit,
what do I trade? Everything really. everything really. Usually we're on here just kind of yapping about these three, but we do like monitor everything. Kind of keep our eyes peeled for any kind of valid setup forming, whatever it may be. But yeah. Everything goes here. Unless if you meant like what kind of products, in which case perpetual futures mostly, perpetual futures / equities. I don't know if we're gonna finish this. Fuck, it's already 11 almost.
Consistently with an incredible support team to back it all up. Not only that, you have the options of getting up to 450 back. IZ traders out there still. There's of course a huge amount of futures traders as well. We can talk about if they're actually trading or not, maybe a bit later in terms of what they're trading or how they're going about trading those things. But the general sentiment I've come across in the space that I came from in terms of the retail space, especially from more social media aspects side of things, options seems to be this thing that's like, oh, it's too complex. It's maybe something that isn't necessary. We can make enough, and there's enough edge over here in forex and futures. What are your thoughts? Do you think a lot more people should be looking at options trading?
Let me answer by sharing a little anecdote. Okay, so one of the guys I did a lot of business with over the years was chief dealer at Swiss Bank. So he ran a big desk, and I hired him to work as part of my prop group. And after he was there for about 6 to 8 weeks, he said, you know what? He said, we're dealing with like, guns and bullets. You're dealing with nuclear bombs. Because options they're turbocharged. It's not like a normal weapon. So the answer is, if people don't know what they're doing, they should actually stay away from options. Unless they have the ability to at least keep it simple and understand what they're doing. People think, oh, I can get premium. I'm going to go sell some strangles and straddles, and they're going to blow up. They'll make money 8 months, 9 months, and they'll completely blow up. Or they go, oh, I'm going to buy options. Great, except most of them are going to out of the money problem. They're going to die. So they're complex, but they're also simple. So the answer is, if they don't know what they're doing, they'll get hurt. If they know what they're doing, it's much better than trading the underlying. It's much better than just trading futures or cash markets or whatever. It's really, I think, much more efficient.
What would you say in terms of for them to know what they're doing, or to maybe just as a foundational point of reference to keep it simple as well? Where should they be looking to begin, or where should they be looking at starting out? With the absence of any charts or anything or any platforms.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what I would advise there, honestly. I don't know. I know that,
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer,
we're
right?
training people, that we've brought into our team, but it's a process, and it's a process of,
Do I give signals? Not really, no. I mean, okay, I plan and prepare all my trades ahead of time, and we discuss the plans ahead of time. There are areas of interest that we're considering dabbling into trades. Kind of data I'm gonna want to be seeing to make me want to take it, etc. But in terms of just giving out signals like straight up, like I'm entering the trade right now, like no, I don't got time for that, right? I'm trying to manage my own shit, get into my own trades. Like I'm entering on like the low time frames, trying to get like pixel perfect entries. I don't have time to sit here and go into like my fucking Discord or whatever and start like writing yap sessions about me taking trades. And it's not even beneficial, right? That's the other thing. Like, like think about the logic of it. Like, what do you get out of like trading my signals? What if I just die tomorrow? You come here for the next like 3 months and you're trading my signals, and then one day I just like get run over by a car and I'm dead. You learn nothing, and now you're back at square one. So teach them how to fish, as they say. Yeah. But there are times when I get filled on stream, right? And I talk about it. But there's no like paid signals group or anything like that.
Like what they like to do, and then we discuss why, and then why not. And then, but if someone's never traded options before, it really is going to depend on what their strategy is. Are they looking to capture, 5-day moves or 2 months moves? It depends on their duration. So I'm not sure there's one answer to that, but
course, yeah.
I think, but if people think I want to get rich quick, yeah, if they hit it right for an option, they bought something out of the money and explodes, okay, fine. But it's just not the way we look at it. As we run our books, so we have a steady income stream. So we want to have a consistent steady income stream every month, at least 10 to 11 months out of the year, which we do. And then we take some of those profits and we put them back in for bigger ideas.
Yo. So, my boy. What time is it over there? Out of curiosity. 8 a.m. God damn. God damn. God damn. You must have got wrecked on that gold trade. Assuming you didn't put your stop loss break even.
Directional ideas. So we have, but that's so we have the knowledge about how to layer different sorts of strategies and bets in. But for a guy who, it just depends on the strategy.
Of course. You're talking in terms of those directional ideas. What's the reality of those? Because they're always the ones that everyone tries to focus on. A lot of people have the misconception that they happen very frequently and all the time. What is the reality of those sort of trade setups in terms of the directional ones? And what's the reality also of like why some people try and argue, okay, if you know you can get those ideas, why not only trade those ideas? I'm sure those ideas can make enough for that year, whatever the time horizon may be. So what's the reality of actually you still need to create that consistent income stream, as you mentioned?
Right. So if you want to get a consistent income stream, you don't just trade big ideas. It won't work. The market's only trending maybe 35% of the time or less, depending on the market, and it's very hard to identify when it's really the big trend or whether it's just maybe a little noisier chop than you want. So if people want to just trade the big idea, then they should be trading a handful of times a year, or they should be looking at 30 different markets. But that's hard. It's hard to really find the big idea and capture it right and know how to get in correctly, know how to get out correctly. That's not easy. We've had years where our target return we're managing money for clients was 18% a year. Why? That's what we found we could do consistently without having anything special. And there were some years where we maybe made 12, 13%, and there were years we made a couple 100%. Because those are the years we really caught things. But it really, you're not going to get years like that often, and you're not going to have the luck, whatever, to say this is the right idea and this is the right way to structure it. I know that if people know themselves, they know whether they're really good at identifying big trends beforehand. It's hard. I know that I'm pretty good at identifying big picture things, but I also know I'm early. I'm always early. Sometimes I'm early by a month or two.
Yeah, I gotta break even. Unfortunate. Not really. Is it unfortunate? Not really. You didn't lose anything. Whatever. Who cares? Whatever. No big deal. I think it'd be more unfortunate if you lost the money. Oops. Yeah, something looks like it wants to roll over though. Unless it fucking sweeps this thing and goes, looking a little sus. How's oil doing? Okay. Leave an alarm a little higher.
Something like by 3 or 4 months, but that means if I want to play a big picture view, I need to either start small enough that I can do it 3 or 4 times or 5 times, or I have to have a long enough duration on the bet. Otherwise, I have no chance. That's me. I just know how I function. Other people, it depends. But I know that options are great if you're really willing to sit with a big picture view and you know how to structure the trade right. But wonderful, you can get 10 to 1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1. But they're not that often.
I mean, that's the general premise that people assume. Okay, there's some home run trades that happen more frequently, but then equally, as you say, I think it's a very good point. Most assume just because they are able to identify that big picture that they will actually execute it well as well.
It's very hard. It's really hard. And then, and everyone has a different strategy.
I think it's like you don't need options to do this, right?
I'll give you an example. It was a strange anecdote, but it was very insightful because everyone was running a very different type of portfolio. So it was a strange weekend with myself. It was actually 4 days. Paul Jones, Lewis Bacon, Bruce Governor, Stan Druckenmiller, and Ray Dalio, all together visiting with Paul down at his place in Maryland. And we're having dinner. Everyone's talking about the market. And then Paul said, "Well, what do you think about the dollar mark?"
That's quite the round table right there. God damn, this guy must be juicing. Druckenmiller and Dalio posted up at dinner. Damn, where's my invite? What?
As we're going around the room, everyone had the same view. And it was such an interesting thing because everyone starts squirming. I mean, you can literally physically squirming. And finally, Paul, he's like, "Guys, it's almost time for Tokyo to open. How about this? I'll be a gentleman. You guys go off and do your trades." Because everyone wanted to get out of the position. They realized everyone already had it. But it was more just this.
Bro, listening to so many podcasts, it's becoming information overload for me at this point. I guess it depends on what are you talking about specifically. Like trading podcasts, or just podcasts in general? The thing is, like with these, like I've already seen like all of them, so it's like I'm watching like one of these, like whatever cadence they release them at this point, if that. Was like not that much. But in terms of general podcasts, like what you just said, yeah, it can be because there's so much information, right? Like that's a kind of like the one of the cons of trading and being in the market. It's like it never fucking ends, right? Goes on and on. The game never stops. Right? The game never fucking stops, whether you like it or not. Definitely one of the cons of trading. At least if you want to be trading everything and like being like in touch with what the general market is doing. I thought sometimes it's nice to just trade one thing, right? Just kind of just zone in on your one asset and trade that, and kind of you can just zone everything else out. But yeah, there is like there's a lot of content to consume in this world. Yeah, if you feel like you're like drained, then it's just like overwhelming. You know, take a break. Because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? Like if you're just like burnt out and you're not retaining anything and just continuing to like hammer away at it, you're just like a ineffective use of your time at that point. And there is also like some aspect of like diminishing returns. Like especially when you're consuming like similar content. Like it's one thing to like look at a podcast about, you know, the crime or like law, and then one is about like health, and one's about like trading. But if it's everything is like trading related, then like yeah, you're gonna get to this point like eventually. Go short on NQ this morning. Yeah, it probably worked out quite well then. I did not trade this, but I caught like the inverse. Like I'm gonna oil trade. I've been in an oil trade since down here. So like today, like as everything else was nuking, this was like pumping pretty hard. Feels good. Question is how much lower does this go? I was talking about this on stream the other day, but okay, I mean currently like the way the options were structured, like some kind of move like this is like being priced in going into like the end of next week. I'm not sure how much lower we're going. We'll see. I haven't like brushed up on how they changed throughout the day today, so yeah. Juicing. Yes, it was a juicy trade. Damn. Very juicy. Thing is, I'm a little worried. Like my target's like up here. I'm planning to like shave like a pretty good amount right here. Yeah, we'll see if we make it there or not. We're not. I have these 4 levels marked out. Two 8 3 2 5. Two 7. Yeah, I don't know about the first one. The one that's like right here. I don't know about that, right? It's like 3 unswept lows, like right there. Like 4 if you include this one. It'd be pretty random for it to just stop like right there and not top this. Uh, 26919. And 27337. Big monthly imbalance. Oh, like this? Yeah, I suppose so. We don't really trade like that, but I mean, it is like the beginning of this volume node, right? So if it is gonna bounce, like just would be kind of that zone. I'd probably nerd out a little bit more in terms of like how this stuff's looking. Oops. If we come down to test like the VWAP, which one? This one? Yeah, possibly. Swing to all-time highs. Damn. Definitely possible, right? Definitely possible. Because we are starting to get like moving towards like the election, right? The midterm, and like I guess like the typical seasonality of the fall. It just depends on the timing, though, more than anything, I suppose. Because like a lot of things can be happening here. And like this one's really looking juicy, right? Down here. I don't know if we retrace that low. Boom. Yeah, that would be pretty juice. That would be pretty juice if you get filled and ride at the all-time highs. That would be pretty juice. Dun. Damn, look at you swinging for the fences. Yeah, swinging for the fences. God damn. Interesting. Is this thing actually gonna fucking flip this zone? We're not. Shout out to our yellow lines though, right? Shout out to the imaginary yellow lines. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm actually a market maker. Low-key. I'm running like a fucking $20 billion book, just printing the chart. If you know, you know.
The psychology of it was so bad, and everyone had different strategy. Like Paul would be in there for 2 weeks, Lewis might be in there for 2 days, Governor might be in for 2 months, Daly might be in for 4 months. Everyone had a different view, different strategy. So, but so everyone could capture different parts of the trade. Except if everyone in the room had the same bet, maybe we don't want to have that bet then. So that's why really, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but the idea really is, everyone can get on the trades at different times in different ways if it's going to be a good trade. What I always wanted to do was find trades they didn't have to get on. I wanted to find those trades where like, this is just structurally wrong. It doesn't make sense. I mean, for example, it doesn't make sense to me that a 5 delta put will be, for example, in the S&Ps will be 25% out of the money, but a 5 delta call will be 10 or 12% out of the money. That doesn't make sense mathematically. It makes sense in terms of the structure of the market, but there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity to take advantage of an option where I can get paid a lot of money as part of a hedge strategy that I'm going to make money on unless the market drops more than 50% in 2 months. It's like, I'll take that bet. And I can even hedge that bet, but I'll take that bet because I'm going to make money in that bet, 199 out of 200 years, right? I mean, I like those probabilities. So it's every sort of strategy, every sort of trade at all, it really depends on the person. If you came to me and said, like, I want to do trend following. Okay, what duration? I want to have positions on for 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, we can design a strategy for you because I've done them. But you have to always stick to it. Because if you don't stick to it, you have no chance. And that's, I think, the biggest problem with most traders.
Let's take a break for a minute, guys. Now I want to tell you about our sponsor, TradeZeller. TradeZeller is the #1 trading tool for all trade journaling, estimating Zeller to user. If people can't follow their systems, then it's all meaningless.
New glasses are coming today. What kind of glasses are they? I want to buy the what's it called? Like the Meta glasses. They seem pretty fun to have. So you can like have like a point of view recording of your whole life, basically. Are the sleep glasses the orange tinted ones? The sleep. Why do you need glasses to sleep with? Sleep glasses, orange tint. Oh, like to help you, like to wear at night before bed. Okay, I see. Yeah, I know people that have these. I know people that like used to game with these. Used to game all day with these glasses on. Yeah, yeah. I'm familiar. I never tried it personally. I mean, normally I just like once I like let's suppose I'm here and I end the stream, which I'm gonna be doing like relatively soon. Like at that point I'm like done with like screens. You know, it's kind of the habit that I've been trying to form for the past like year. I'll like go read a book for a bit with like really low dim light in my room, or like on the couch or something. And I take magnesium biglycinate. And after like 30 minutes or so, I'm starting to feel pretty tired, and I get like just a nice long sleep. Pretty noticeable. That magnesium stuff is quite noticeable. Like the dreams I've got when I started taking that is like, damn, you dream a lot more. So obviously the quality of sleep's like better, at least for me. My glasses are goated. Been wanting to get them for a while. Yeah, I think I don't wear glasses per se. Like, I don't need a prescription or anything, but I got LASIK eye surgery. So, you know, I got that cyborg vision. Boy, so you're asking me from a mile away. Yeah, no, it looks cool to have just in terms of just recording stuff, right? Like you don't have to like take out a camera and like imagine you're at a concert or at a sports event or like anything. You don't have to sit there with your phone out being like, you can just enjoy the moment, right? And it's just being, you can record it while you're doing whatever. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I think like they're adding more features to them over time, right? Like the translation stuff and whatever. Okay, well, we'll pause this for now because I don't think I'm gonna be finishing this actually.
This anyway, but part of, just very briefly, we'll move on in terms of
we'll try.
Everyone having that same trade idea is an element of what you're trying to look for.
I got a DJI Osmo Nano. What the fuck is that? Oh, like some kind of camera. But either way, it's just like a handheld camera, isn't it? Just gonna throw on a video real quick.
Okay, now after using the DJI Osmo Nano for the last few weeks, we honestly think this might be one of the most fun cameras that DJI has probably.
Interesting.
Premiere Pro, CapCut, whatever you in video game, and
oh, you can attach it to yourself.
Here.
Interesting.
When it comes to these big picture things.
Start making reels with that. What's a reel? Like some kind of short form video or something. No, I was reading some stuff online. Apparently, like if you make shorts on YouTube, it's like hyper effective for like growing channels. Should I start making pixel perfect juicy entry fucking shorts or what? For the lulz? Pixel perfect. People aren't even gonna believe me. They're thinking it's fucking Photoshop or something. AI. Let me send you some. Hold up. Promotional content.
It's almost.
We'll put a pause on that for now. Cause we gotta do the juice box still too. Boy. And on Discord. Oh, I'm not logged into. I guess on my phone. No, I'm not a social media person. I don't really use Discord, so. No.
The Fires just dropped their summer plan and they're offering $100,000 account for just $149. And the best part is that you'll get your entire evaluation fee refunded on your third payout. The evaluation is
Okay, I see you. Oh, did you get paid for that or what? The Fivers funding Forex traders.
I think it might be over for David. We heard some pretty.
Slow cruise. High stakes.
Shout out to the boy.
No outsiders. Marcos. Yeah. We trade with the game, move silent, but they loud when they hit.
I do affiliate management for them. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to message this guy back. Some guy was messaging me to sponsor the channel with some like exchange. I just realized I never messaged him back. Oops. Oops. Thing is, I don't know if I want to like be associated with any of this shit. It was like it's like TMGM. Dun, dun, dun. That's a big ass crypto platform, bro. Really? No clue. But yeah, no, like what's it called? Yeah, he's in the chat one day, or like whatever. The guy that works for it was in the chat one day. And they messaged me randomly on Discord about like if you wanted it to be sponsored by them. Like I'm not really trying to do anything where like what's it called? Like I'm not trying to juice off people in the chat, right? Like just seems unnecessary. And like I also like I don't know, I didn't know much about this exchange. I didn't realize it was like some big deal because like I did some like a bit of due diligence on it, so I wanted to see if it was like, even like legal in Canada, for instance. Didn't seem like some crazy big deal. Yeah, I just messaged him back. I really totally forgot. And it's got I haven't. The last time I messaged me was at the end of May. Whoops. 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 But yeah, I'm trying to read through the tracks. I'm trying to see like what kind of benefits he was at, like because I was asking him, I was curious like what you guys get out of it. Like, do you get like lower fees or something? I'm trying to see what he said now. I can't remember. He said that I would get paid based on the volume of trades of your members. Then I asked, do they get any discounts or any fees, etc.? And he said sometimes you run a promotion for 50% deposit bonus. Yeah. TBD. We'll see what they say. Thing is, like, I don't want to be involved with any of these like potential services that I don't know much about, and then they end up being like sketchy and like whatever, right? Or like they end up shutting down or fucking Lord knows what. Then I got fucking filth on my name for no reason. We do things free over here, right? Juicing for the people. You heard of Orangey? No, what's Orangey? Well, it's a person? Wait, is this guy a trader or a gamer? Or both? I'm trying to find a trading video of this guy. Do I know the guys that trade shit coins? Solana meme coins? No. Absolutely not. People aren't traders. They're not traders, right? They're just clowns. You just like pump and dump on their followers. Or they're like the people that like go invest in meme coins and they're like they just like bet on a bunch of like low cap shitters, and then eventually like, one of them like actually hits, and like this is their P&L curve, and then they like try to repeat the same thing and they like blow like 90% of their P&L, and like maybe they get one again, and then they like blow like 9% of their P&L, or they just eventually end up back at square one, right? But they don't actually trade. So yeah. And like suppose for whatever reason like the trenches like fade out in terms of volume. And that's the other thing about the meme coins, right? It's like very deceptive. Because like sure, like you might see the charts. Like there's some meme coin and it's like trending to zero, like dust. And all of a sudden it has some like crazy pump. It's like, I don't know, like fucking 100x pump. Like in reality, if you were in down here and you try to sell it up here with like any amount of size, the chart's coming right back down just from you selling. Because there's no liquidity in these things, right? Like they might have like what was an example I saw recently? I don't know, there was something meme coin trending on X I saw recently. But when you actually looked at the daily trading volume, it was like $2 million. So like you can make as much money as you want down here, but if there's no volume to get out, it's coming right fucking back down when one big person sells. There's no repeatable mechanical strategy to make money consistently. What in general or with meme coins? Because in general, that's not true at all. With meme coins, yeah, it's a bit more sketch. No, meme coins, of course. Why are you doubting Harshal Hedge Fund? Yeah. I'm not doubting it. It's just, I don't know, like, I don't know. Something about those communities just like, what would be a good example? Like I just like X pisses me off. That's what it is, right? Because I'm exposed to so many idiots, and I don't have a choice. Like I'm like fucking forced to be exposed to this fucking stupidity. It's like I've seen people on there with like huge followings saying how like Bitcoin has not been worth trading for the past like year. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? This shit's been juice as fuck. What are you talking about? It's the same story every time, right? Like, you want to know what the reality of X is? It's people that just buy spot, like on some like low, and think that like riding it up is like trading. Like, no, you're just a fucking investor. You're not a fucking trader. It's like everyone's like waiting for the bull market to come back. I'm like, man, there's been literally like infinite amount of trading opportunities. Like bull market or not does not fucking matter. Like you're just an idiot. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, a lot of grifters on there. It's crazy because they have such big followings, right? That's the craziest part. That's just me ranting though. At the end of the day, like we should be happy, right? Like that's who we're trading against. Like literally fucking NPCs on X is who's taking the other side of my trade. Fucking sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Dev, Damiha, hello, Dev. Sir Dev. Orangey, Mr. Orangey. The heart. Hey, you're late. I'm getting off here pretty soon, to be honest. Boy is tired. Well, so tomorrow's stream, I just realized, fuck. I shall mention it after the juice box. I might stream during the day tomorrow. And then just like, fuck it, not be on at night. Either that or I stream like really late night. If I even stream. Which is like, I'm giving it like a 5% chance that's the case. It's either in the morning or probably nothing. Like slash noon. In terms of the juice box though, I mean, the longs, everyone should be in this long. Yes, agreed, disagree. Everyone should be in this long right now. Like, we literally spent like the last 2 days talking about this. So at this point, you should have got filled, should have shaved that VWAP, put your stop at the low, and whatever happens from here happens. But if we are going to start to like fail at the value area high, right? Kind of reclaim this bitch. That's going to be your best setup, right? So reclaiming, getting a retest one of these levels, just because you're kind of late to smashing the entry on this breakout. Yeah. Dun. Either that or like kind of at the start of the stream we were talking about this zone up here. It's like flipping one of these two zones, right? Either you get like a retest here or you get into like the flip of this before we sweep all the highs. I think we're going back to 50k. Personally, yeah. Personally, I think, yeah. Personally, I do think so. But we'll see, right? That doesn't really matter what I think at the end of the day. Dun. Hard to say, very hard to say. But like it does seem like a lot of people are getting like quite bullish here, and sentiment data wise, it's like the shittier traders that are all thinking that. It makes me like extra paranoid. When all the fucking noobs are getting bullish, like red fucking sign flashing, danger. And this move is not like, I mean, whatever, I guess you're not expecting to see some like crazy impulsive bounce off the low given the current state of things, but this move has been like very, very grindy going up. Level to level, right? That's at the end of the day, level to level, best way to do it. But yeah, I would not be surprised at all to make like another leg down. Can I just say the bullish retest of, whoops. Of the golden pocket slash ED value area high. And then all like the higher time frame downside levels you already covered. Like higher time frame levels to the downside have been covered in previous streams / Discord. Yeah. High time frame stuff, who knows, right? Who knows? The Garrett thing is, we haven't really seen like a huge capitulation, right? What about in the ETF? Like I know we saw one back here. Like in terms of like volume. Like a bit like this kind of thing, right? Like these like mega fucking volume dildos. I'll feel a lot more inclined to say this would have been a potential low if there was like a huge swapping of hands here. But I'll say this, I think we are getting close to like some kind of low, right? Like you're like, I mean, I've talked about this when I first started streaming, the kind of like the Bitcoin whale accumulation, like the chart that shows like how much Bitcoin whales have. And it's kind of like yeah, the shaw's a bit better. So like it's starting to do this again, right? So like this is like when they have like the most Bitcoin. This is like when they have like the least. So like at the cycle tops, like they're always dumping their fucking bags, and at the lows, like they're reloading, and like they've started reloading like somewhat aggressively here already. But like, yeah, like we're not up to like these kind of levels yet. So I suspect we'll do another like kind of leg lower. Not just for that reason, but like just like a more additional confluence. Plus, is it ever this easy? Do we really just come down pixel perfectly to the 618 and just rip higher from here? Maybe it is possible. We could be like front running like the levels lower. But I don't know. Like to me, until I see this zone flipped, I'm not like really convinced of it, like us being done going lower. And this is like a ways away still, so it'd be interesting to see the correlation with the whale holdings versus Bitcoin price. It's literally what I just drew. Literally what I just drew. It's inverse. It's inverse. Bum, 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 bum. Like a bit more. Keep deleting it. Fuck. Like this is what the chart would look like compared to like the price. All right, boys, I'm gonna go ahead with my day and check out a new place to rent. Yeah, shout out to you. Good luck with that. Sure, we'll reconnect soon. We'll come back here and finish this juice box real quick. Bum, 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 bum. For the shorts, a little scary. A little scary. I thought you were drawing all-time time frame. No, if you go look at the chart of like Bitcoin whale holdings versus the price action, it's like one of the very first videos I ever uploaded on YouTube was talking about that chart. It's like one of the best signals, right? Like it's like almost perfectly correlated to like cycle tops and bottoms. Like obviously it's not pixel perfect timing, but like when whales are unloading their bags, like you know, right? No. Dun, dun, dun. Let me just look at some of this data again real quick. Like the scary thing about this move to the upside is like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe you could like, we talked about kind of shorting these zones yesterday. Like specifically, like now it would be like this kind of thing. Maybe they take the 886 sweep, but like, and maybe you get a reaction at the negative point of control. But the problem with this is like, we were talking about this earlier in the stream, but there's like a lot of shorts that piled into this move here, right? And like the more that we start pumping, if they're not closing out, like they're just gonna get squeezed. And if people are gonna start to hop into this trade to target the highs still, right? So we know this is like the main target. So there's a world where it just ends up being like the move, right? We end up finishing the move. So these are like a little risky. Dun, 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 dun. So like I'd primarily be watching the open interest, right? To kind of see like, are these people closing out the shorts or are they getting like underwater and getting dragged up? If they get closed out or if they don't close out, then we start going higher. I probably wouldn't entertain this. Because there's a lot of liquidity up here too in terms of people that are just in shorts with stops. On top of the people that hopped in late. So like if they start to get squeezed out or squeezed as these people are getting stopped out, it's just gonna be some like massive cascade, right? Just burst to the upside. So yeah, definitely be watching the open interest for that. Also what these guys are doing. Although like we haven't been particularly correlated with them lately. Would be nice if they are coming along for the ride though, say that. Yeah. Kind of just put like a open what do we write? Like the two bubbles I had, like very open OI dependent. Yeah, yeah. If anything, kind of like this typical more patient version of taking things that we've kind of been talking about lately, where like if it is gonna come up here, like let it go up, like reject wherever it may reject, and then like lose the VWAP, and then like kind of structure your trade off of that. And if anything, like, you might want to give it some time. Like let it like really change structure, head lower, and then like get in like down here somewhere to like ride the move down. With like a trade like this. Like obviously this is just like a random imaginary price action we're drawing, but you get the idea. Like target the lower levels that we've been talking about. Because like the real world might just like lose view up temporarily, then just reclaim it and go right away. Yeah, just keep all that context in mind. This is quite the magnet, right? This has been like the high time frame target for quite some time now, and we're just like diddling around up here. Kind of just close out some longs, and seems like we're about to start going again. That should do it, right? That should do it. We kind of, between like this stream and all the past streams and everything in Discord, we kind of covered everything else pretty in depth. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, yeah. Get rid of this. Anything else we didn't cover? There's something I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I was supposed to nerd out on some of like the options for like Bitcoin specifically, like that's all the expiries next week. Yeah, next week's pretty crazy weekend, right? It's like a monthly options expiry for Bitcoin, all like the large megs earnings, FOMC, and the other countries like doing their rate announcements. Yeah, a lot going on next week. Anyways, for now we're out of here. Let's wrap things up and get going. Scroll. Shout out to Bobby Lambs asking for signals. Shout out for Herschel, our boy, doing some advertising for the Fivers. Shout out to Mr. Dev, nerding out as per usual. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Actually, yeah, the context I said earlier, we'll see. If I stream tomorrow, it's gonna be during the day. If I'm not on during the day, I'll be back probably like Saturday at some point. Maybe not. I might not even stream the whole weekend. It depends. If anything interesting is happening, okay, I'll say this. If I'm not going to be streaming and there's something worth talking about, I'll like do like a Discord update. But if I do have some time, I'm just kicking around with like nothing particularly interesting going on here in person, like in real life, then yeah, I'll come chill on my computer for a bit and kind of make sure we're all caught up, right? Everyone's following the plans. But for now, hopefully everyone got on this one, right? Hopefully everyone took this thangity thing. We were planning to prepare for this quite some time. I'm out here now. Later. Yeah, I hope you have a good night as well. Stay safe, guys. Don't get got, right? Be patient, plan out your trades, be planned and prepared. Don't FOMO, stick to your plans. If you miss it, who cares, right? Always another trade. Don't rush it. Don't get got, as we say. yeah, but we'll be back soon. For now, I'm out here though. I need to get some sleep, ready for tomorrow. So later. 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 Later.